I'm hip.
Chris's grip on the reel.
Not often. But sometimes.
I'll tell you right now, Braden's about to find out I got that dog and he keeps talking. Chris, you gotta lower yours a little bit.
Lower it?
Yeah, there you go. What the hell just happened to my microphone?
And away we go on this Tuesday afternoon. Welcome in to Gwynn and Chris, Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Cello, Matt Skraby. Here with you for 4 hours. Once again, good lineup for you. Brinson Blessing to join us. Bleacher Report. Talk a little Super Bowl. Getting closer and closer.
Yeah.
Every day we have a little more media action.
Scraby's a day closer to coming up with excuses.
And they, boy, are they
Monday
flowing.
will be the day for that.
The excuses are flowing. He is backpedaling and tap dancing, man, more than anybody I've seen in quite some time. He is trying to wiggle his way out of this Thai food 10 that's coming his way on Thursday.
Yeah, he just doesn't understand that when he said that he could eat a Thai 10, that we all knew right away that it was cap. We knew it was cap. And if you don't know what that means, don't worry about it, because I didn't know what it meant 5 minutes ago. But
Chris just used
Braden Soprano clued me in on it.
All cap.
Said if it's cap, you're saying that you don't believe it.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Scraby, you got 2 days to get yourself ready. And there are ways that you can get yourself ready
What
to
are some
eat
of those
hot
ways?
food. I don't know. I think drinking milk ahead of time is a good start. Coating your stomach. But I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, I know that the guy that used to be on, what was it, Man versus Food, and did a lot of those chicken
Adam
wing
something?
challenge. Yeah, Adam
something he said.
Yeah,
Richmond,
it was Adam
maybe?
something. I don't remember his last name. Adam Richmond.
Oh, I really
Adam
did
Richmond.
get it. Okay.
But he, he did a lot of preparation before he would partake in those particular challenges. So if I were you, Scraby, I would spend the next 48 hours finding out everything I can do to get myself ready, to give myself the best chance to not turn Thursday into a complete health disaster for you.
I think it has potential to be
one of the greatest segments in the history of this show.
I really do. Like,
yeah,
if we get to 4:30 and he's still out of commission and you're having to do the big five.
Yeah.
I just think that in itself.
I think we should put an over under on how long he'll be off the show from the moment he tries the tie with the 10 heat rating
off the
and
show,
can get back on and start contributing again.
More so off the mic, because I don't know. He's got to stay within camera range.
Yes, that's
during
right.
This whole
that's
part.
a good point.
So
yes.
You know what I love about this whole thing?
What do you love about it?
You guys have ran with this into a direction that it never should have gone.
See, this is part of the excuse making that I was talking about.
I would also like to know what time we talked about this yesterday, because I can't remember for the life of me. So if you're on the chat, please let me know. I'm gonna go back. I want to see, because
Skraby is doing his best to get out of this, and he wants to say that somehow Chris and I tricked him into this.
Yeah,
I was on camera yesterday eating my ramen, sweating a little bit because it was a little bit spicy.
That's right. So that was about an hour or so into the show, if I recall.
Yeah. So the subject then came up about Thai food, and Skraby on his own, unsolicited,
volunteered the fact
that he had done a 10 before.
That when because we were talking about Thai food, and I was trying to get a rating from Tony, and he was like, "That's like a 2 or a 3."
Right.
Skraby goes, "No, when I go to Thai food, I get a 10."
That's exactly
what you said.
I love
and that caught her attention.
Okay. Anthony, I appreciate you giving me a time frame, but between 4 and 5 doesn't help.
Well, just go back and listen to the 4 o'clock.
You want me to go listen to the whole hour now, Chris?
It was pretty early in this. I think in terms of the segment, I think it was early in the hour. So I'm gonna say it was 3. Early 3.
I don't even know if I want to out whoever just texted, or I know who texted me. I don't know if I want to out them yet. So I might out them later.
Here's a couple of ideas for you, Skraby. I'm doing some research for you right now.
I don't want your help.
You need our help.
You need our help. And here's an article. It's entitled "How to Prepare Yourself for the Burn." and it's a picture of a guy getting ready to
Wear
eat
sweats
some
to school
ghost
instead of
chilies.
jeans.
Number one, make sure your stomach isn't empty. So that you can do.
That's
I think.
actually not easy though.
Number
I don't
two,
eat much anymore.
well,
You're gonna
you'll
have
eat
to.
something on Thursday.
I'm
Number
not going to
two,
actually do this. Okay?
avoid surprises.
I'm out.
I don't think you have to worry about that because you know exactly what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to eat a 10 Thai food, and then gradually condition your palate.
Mm.
And
This is
and in
important.
parentheses, they say, or simply medicate. That means taking antacids and other indigestion-related products, which can help the looming heartburn and acid reflux, which is about to take place.
See, unfortunately,
So some antacid. You want me to bring some Rolaids in for you?
real quick, unfortunately, the antacids aren't going to help you when your whole mouth is on fire. The antacids will help you later after
Maybe
you've been
so.
able to swallow
Yeah.
it and get it down. But
Yeah, it is. It says to ramp up the dairy and experiment with temperatures.
yeah, this is
Again,
where you
milk
need to be.
or cream seems to be the most often utilized
I'm
salve.
glad you guys are wasting
hot
all
sauce
of this time
wounds.
on this.
We're not wasting any time
you
on this.
know
This is going to be, we already discussed, this is going to be one of the greatest segments in the history of the show. So we're going to pour everything we have
I'm not
into
doing it unless you two take a bite.
No,
One
we
bite.
didn't claim.
No,
we didn't
I'm not
claim.
doing it unless you guys.
No, so are
you
you,
guys have
officially backing out now?
No, I'm trying to find this when this happens. So I
Do
can
you
go
want to get it on
listen.
the record right now? 206.
No, I want to
on
know.
Tuesday.
I want to know what I said, and I will go.
We told you
We
what
just
no,
told you
I
what
don't
you
believe
said.
you guys because you guys have weird memories.
When I go to Thai
Chris
food,
didn't know
when
that Jim
I-
Callis was with MLB Pipeline yesterday.
well, that's the producer's fault.
I know on the sheet it said MLB Pipeline.
But no, you said when you go Thai food, you get a 10.
Your words.
That's what you said. And we're like, that
Sorry,
sounds
so-
a little cap.
It sounds a lot of cat.
lot of
saying,
cap.
They're saying it was at 147, but that doesn't make sense
might-
because
it
we're
might
not
have been.
on the show at
It
147.
couldn't have been at
No.
147. No, that's true. That's true.
Well, either way, I just want to do. Are you out? Are
I told
backing
you I
out?
have to go listen to what I said, but
If
the
so,
reason
you're
that I'm
saying if you listen to what you said, and it sounds
No.
like what we
the
said.
reason that I'm so frustrated with you two is because you guys have taken this into this thing and you're just like offering me up like I'm some show pony. Or
we
something.
certainly don't care what happens to you. That is for sure.
I would do it if you guys take a bite too.
no.
All right,
I told you
that's
I
it.
only do 3. That's the highest I go. I never close to.
And
close to
I
10.
do 0, and I was very clear about that I'm incredibly wimpy when it comes to
So,
hot food. So,
Oh, that was okay.
I don't have a
It
see, but
wasn't-
I don't have a
okay.
problem admitting the truth.
right.
You apparently do
Skraby
have a
just
little bit.
finished telling myself, Braden, and Chris how much he had this dog in him, and now he is backpedaling out of his own words.
Yeah, and people I guess heard me saying that I'm gonna show Braden I have this dog in me, which is true because I would tell him that to his face. He was still in the door basically.
Well, you're showing no dog right now.
Well, I think it's because of the amount of people that are like piling on at this moment in time.
Because you said what you said, Scrape.
I'm trying. Okay, it was an hour and 47 minutes into the stream, not 147.
Okay, there you go.
PM.
So
Okay.
347.
Yes,
Boom.
I'm
Should be
looking
easy for you to
Yes,
find it.
you're right.
I'd like to hear exactly what was said because it's just going to prove our point that you were ready.
We'll let you figure out where that's at some point. We hope to get to hear it, so
Yeah,
you
I'm
can,
listening right
we
now.
can put it all out there and figure out what was said. I thought that this was interesting. Obviously, we're getting closer and closer to Super Bowl.
Are we actually going to have to talk some sports now?
We are going to
Ah,
have to talk
all
some
right.
sports. I don't know if you guys saw the mayor of Las Vegas kind of basically saying Oakland needs to find a way to stay in Oakland. And
Oh, really? Now the mayor doesn't want them to come.
the mayor
to
of
Las
Las Vegas said this. Now, I don't know if this is a
Wow.
political thing or if she genuinely feels like I don't want this team here, but it is interesting that you're starting to, at least seems like for the first time, starting to get some pushback from somebody
Yeah.
other than the people
That's
of Oakland.
not a great sign. I mean, I don't even know that Los Angeles pushed back on the notion of having to take the Chargers.
No,
You know, I mean,
right.
I don't know that LA has ever welcomed that franchise with open arms, but they certainly didn't push back on getting the Chargers.
Yeah.
I mean, if Las Vegas is going to push back on this, that could be very interesting. That could create a bit of a conundrum for Who is the commissioner of baseball these days?
Rob.
Yeah, that
Manfred.
guy. Rob
Come
Manfred.
Seeger, I love you. That guy.
I gotta tell you, people in Las Vegas, you're gonna love.
See, if he
the
did that in
A's.
Vegas, it would make sense.
Yeah, they would understand.
But the mayor of Las Vegas, Carolyn Goodman.
Interesting.
She isn't exactly extending a warm embrace. In fact, she said the team's stadium plan, and quote, does not make sense, and that the A's ownership should go back to the drawing board and pitch a new plan in the Bay Area. And this is her exact quote. I personally think the A's have got to figure out a way to stay in Oakland and make their dream come true.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a pretty big.
So the only thing she could have said more egregious than that is, we flat out do not want them. I mean, she could have just said that, because that's basically what she was saying.
I'd be remiss if I didn't give you all of it. Now, she took to social media later on Tuesday,
right,
to add context to her comments, and said she was excited about the prospect of Major League Baseball in her city, though she didn't back off her statement that Oakland and the A's should try to make the relationship work in a perfect world. She added, should that fail, Las Vegas has shown that it is a spectacular market for Major League sports franchise. So I don't know. She's not closing the door, and I don't know that she can close the door, because I don't know that mayors have that kind of power anyway.
Yeah.
But she has. She is saying that they should try to make up here.
It's quite the notion for the. I mean, if you're the, I mean, I guess people like, what is it, John Fisher, who's the owner of the A's. I get the feeling that these people just don't run in the circle of the rest of us, like, and actually care what anybody else out there thinks of them. Because if John Fisher ever cared what anybody thought of him, he wouldn't act the way he does. But I mean, there's got to be at least a piece of him somewhere that's saying, you know, here I am trying to, you know, improve my franchise, at least in my mind, improve my franchise and the future. And the place I want to go doesn't even want me.
Yeah, this says the A's ballpark is planned for a 9-acre parcel on the Las Vegas Strip. And Goodman said the congestion makes the site less attractive than a larger site in North Las Vegas.
They've already built the football stadium and the hockey arena right on the Las Vegas Strip. Yeah. So, I mean, as if it wasn't crowded enough before.
And listen, I mean, then this is why I said there's other things going on here. I mean, she had proposed a different plan in North Las Vegas where it's a little more open. So that may be why she's coming down so harsh right now.
Maybe she's probably getting she is a politician after all.
Right.
So she's probably got an angle somewhere along the line, an angle that will help make her some more money.
Yeah, no
That's
doubt
normally
about
how they work.
So just something to keep an eye on. Other news in baseball: Clayton Kershaw is headed back to the Los Angeles Dodgers.
There's another one off the board. Not that we're surprised, but we had discussed how amazing it would be for Kershaw to come south for 1 year, and
usually for that kind of thing to happen,
and then pitch the game of his life against the Dodgers in the playoffs.
Usually for a guy
would have been
to change stripes like that.
Yeah,
you usually have to be burned by the other side,
right? Yeah, there was no way Kershaw's going to leave the Dodgers.
It was either going to be LA or Texas, where he's from, and he's going back. I mean, he cares about his legacy, and again, certain guys, and I'm not saying that Cal or my dad was somebody he watched, but
there's only a few of them.
There's only a few that have been able to say they've played for one team their entire career.
Yeah.
He'll likely be one of those whenever it is that he does decide to hang it up.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, that was a pipe dream. As a matter of fact, unfortunately, getting any, name player, I think, in Major League Baseball at this point is starting to become a pipe dream. I mean, we have heard nothing about the Ha-Seong Kim trade rumors, which were rampant a couple of weeks ago.
It's been really quiet.
Yeah.
Right?
And without that, and without the ability to go out and spend $13 or $14 million on a player, who's not even that good, I mean, it's going to be really interesting. I mean, exactly who the Padres are going to trot out there, on opening day of spring training, just in terms of, what guys are going to actually be competing for roles in the outfield. I mean, Jim Callis, if you didn't hear that interview yesterday, whether he's from Baseball America or not, he was very informative and really kind of, set the record straight, at least in terms of how he believes that the Padres really don't, although they have some big name, young players in the minor league system that eventually are going to be, contributing. He doesn't really believe any of them other than perhaps Jackson Merrill are going to be able to contribute now. And so if they don't have guys contributing there and they're not going to get a free agent and they're not going to make a trade, who actually are they going to put out there with Fernando Tatis Jr. and Jose Azocar in the outfield?
Yeah. No, I
mean, somebody's got to run out there.
It's a fair question. You got a guy like Michael A. Taylor that's still available.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that is where you're probably you're starting at right there in terms of
Tommy Pham. I mean, I know Tommy Pham has said he's interested, but I don't think Tommy Pham's going to come for any less than $13 million, is he? I mean, Skraby's trying to make Skraby's trying to, scrape the bargain barrel and get Brandon Belt for $5 million.
Oh, yeah, I am.
Unfortunately, Skraby never asked Brandon Belt about that. He just assumes Brandon Belt would be thrilled to take $5 million.
It said $5 million on the spot track.
You are a resident salary cap guy.
Oh yeah.
How much did Tommy make last year?
Tommy Pham.
Check that out.
Check that out.
I also found the audio from yesterday that we could play on the other side.
Oh, so the truth is about to set somebody free.
Yes, it will.
It's not going to set you free.
Last year, he made $5 million.
So, I mean, maybe.
Or $6 million. Sorry,
$6 million is all Tommy made last year, but he had a better than $6 million a year.
Yeah, but he only got older though. That does start to factor in. I'm not saying it has anything to do because Tommy has proven that he is. Especially when it comes to the later part of the year, he's a dude you want in your lineup.
Yes, you do.
But maybe that cost is
maybe Tommy Pham and Jurickson Profar are going to all both wind up back here. I mean, that just seems to be the only thing that really makes sense on all sides, looking from all angles.
In some ways, maybe that's what the Padres were hoping the whole time, is that the market would come back to them, and they wouldn't have to spend a ton of money to get a quality player. You get a guy like Tommy Pham to plug in left field, I don't think that's all that bad, personally.
No, it wouldn't be bad at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be thrilled to have him right now.
And at that price, I think that might be workable.
Well, we're all going to find out. Hopefully, in the next in the next 2.5 weeks, something has to happen. We can't just keep coming in here for the next 3 weeks straight with no news, because eventually the Padres have to, make something work.
All right, let's get to break. When we come back, the truth will set Skraby free, maybe. Plus, there was something else I wanted to talk about.
Ruben Niebla was on the morning show today. Was that where you wanted to go?
The Whisperer was on
the pitching whisperer.
was on the show, the morning show with Ben and Woods.
That very popular morning show, Ben and Woods.
We will.
They were ranked number 16 best morning show according to Barrett Sports Media. So congrats, guys!
Not surprised. Congratulations.
They're ranked number 16 in the nation.
In the nation, yeah.
So all of a sudden, Ben and Woods are higher ranked than the Aztecs.
That's a way to look at it.
These AP voters just don't seem to know what in the world they're doing.
Let's get to break. More Gwynn and Chris on the other side.
Listen to 90.
All right, we're definitely going to talk some sports today because that's what we do on this show, but we have much more important matters at hand before we get to stuff like tonight's Aztec basketball game. Aztecs playing at Air Force this evening, 7:30 start. I got to say, Tony, we were talking about it the other day, how there was no football Sunday, first time since August, and what are we going to do and what's going to get us through the next couple of months until the Padres get going? And once again, the Aztecs are the answer to that question. I mean, Brian Dutcher, that team, Steve Fisher before him, they have given us, 15 years of great theater, to enjoy during the down months of February and, now March. I mean, we can't wait for March Madness again.
I mean, listen, last year, usually in a typical year, Aztecs would get us through about mid-March,
early to mid-March,
and then
they got us all the way to April.
I was doing regular season games when they
were doing the game. That's still one of my favorite moments of the entire year when Butler hit the shot and ESPN showed the highlight package, and you were included in the highlight package, cheering in the booth.
Yeah, that was fun.
And Bud Black was down in the dugout and he was celebrating. That was it was an awesome moment, no matter what. But that added to how great it was. But yeah, I mean, I just really look forward to watching the game tonight, and I mean, they went to the NCAA final last year. And I've said this before, if they would have gone 10-15 this year, I would have been disappointed, but I wouldn't have been mad.
Right.
I mean, they did so much last year, but they're not 10 and they're 16-5 or something, or 17-3. I don't know what their official. I know they're 6-3 in the
They're
conference.
doing things good programs do.
That's right. They're coming right back with another great year, and we'll see how they do tonight against Air Force. But we will get to that. We'll get to some stuff that Ruben Niebla had to say on the morning show today, on with the very powerful duo of Ben and Woods. But before we get to that, Skraby was able to track down our exchange yesterday concerning the eating of hot food, or at least the ordering of hot, spicy food.
Is this our exchange, or is this just your words?
This is just me because it's too long.
A little
to play.
too lengthy to set up.
Here's the thing.
Set it up.
But while Tony. Okay, let me start that over. I obviously am looking at my future right now. So we went into Padres pen pals, and Tony started eating his noodles, and I brought up on the air that if you want to see Tony sweat, you should go to the YouTube chat.
That's right.
So you actually
were the one
initiated this.
You set this whole thing in motion.
I did.
Yeah,
I did. Didn't realize that's how it went, but.
Yeah, and then you were kind of giving. I think you were kind of giving Tony a hard time because he was sweating profusely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we determined that the spice level of his
it was about a
Thai noodles was a 2 or a 3, and Skraby thought he would, stick the knife in a little further.
He was trying to one up right here. He's a one up,
and boy, did he get himself in trouble.
When I go to like a Thai food place and they ask you for your spicy level, I say 10.
What?
Yeah.
Stop.
That seemed to get Tony's attention yesterday. Yes, I tell them a 10. So now, you know what, Tony? Let's just be quiet. Stay away from the mics.
When I go to like a Thai food place and they ask you for your spicy level, I say 10.
Okay.
What?
Yeah. So now, what I want to know, I'm going to give you the floor. You have 2 minutes before the break. Go ahead, my friend. Wiggle your way out of this one.
There's no wiggling. I can't find out a way out of this one.
You can tell how surprised I was that you said 10.
What?
Now, here's what I will say, truthfully, is that I had no idea there was a difference between an American 10 and a Thai 10.
And here's what I
we
have
don't
to say.
even know exactly what that's all about.
Chris and I were discussing this. I'd never heard of that. I'd never heard of an American 10.
We don't know what that's all about.
I just knew that the 10 that they were offering at the Thai restaurant was something
eating.
I didn't want to approach.
That's right.
And I honestly did not know there was two separate things.
Well, I don't know that there are, but it doesn't really matter because you're in a situation now where on Thursday you are committed to stopping on the way in and ordering some Thai food and asking for a 10. Now, the only thing that we're concerned about is because we should be concerned about your safety, but we're not.
Oh,
What
it's like the NFL. No,
we're not. What we're concerned about is that the restaurant you go to may not even be willing to give you a 10. We had people you called or chimed in yesterday and said they won't just give you a 10. I mean, you've got to like sign away your life to get a 10.
That's true.
So that might be the one thing that gets you out of this.
I'm going to be asking around places,
trying to find a place that won't serve a 10.
Will serve you a 10.
Why don't
No,
I
he's going to try to find one that won't serve him.
Why don't I get an American 10?
No.
Because that's
not
what I was talking about.
But remember, you were poking fun at me in my sweat yesterday because I said it was a 3.
Right.
So we need to now see you raise the level to what you said you go.
I like
to
how you guys are signing me up for stuff I didn't say. I never said I could do a tie 10. I said I ordered American.
First
10.
of all, we didn't know there was a difference until none of us. All 3 of us didn't know there was.
Well,
a
you
difference.
guys are forcing me to eat the one that I didn't even know existed.
We weren't playing around with the tie 3, the American 3s. We were playing around with the tie 3.
I will eat an American 10.
What is that? Nobody even knows.
We're going to have to. I wish back in the day on sports talk or any talk radio, they don't allow this anymore. But you used to be able to just make a cold call.
Oh yeah,
on the show, so we could have you dial a Thai restaurant.
No, that's too much work.
And try to figure out what this is all about. Is there an American 10? Is there a Thai 10? Is there a difference?
I'm being
so
told
we can
on
all
the
find
chat,
out.
There is a difference. They use different chilies.
Well,
so I'm going to order American 10 because that's what
you've wiggled your way out of this one.
I didn't wiggle my way out of anything.
Yeah, you did.
If I would have said, "Well, I order Thai 10s all the time,"
well, you don't even know what it. You didn't know what it was
existed
at the time you claimed to eat a 10.
I don't believe you ordered an American 10 the first time.
I can almost guarantee you I did as a drunk.
See, therein lies part of the issue. Is you really don't even remember what you ordered.
I don't.
You could have ordered a 2.
Oh no, I ordered a 10 because I was that idiot guy who thought he was all cool. It was like, yeah, give me the 10.
Just like you did yesterday when you claimed to eat a 10.
All right, we need to go to break.
You walked right into
We
that.
need
Mr.
to go to
Cool.
break.
All right, we've got Brent Zableski coming up. The Super Bowl, if you're not aware, is coming up on Sunday. You can hear the game right here on 97.3 The Fan. I believe the Chiefs are playing the 49ers. They had media day or media night last night. Brent Zableski, Bleacher Report, our ace football guy, is going to join us with some thoughts on Super Bowl 58. Also, some of the coaching changes that have been made around the NFL. Who did well, who didn't? We'll find out when we return on Gwynn and Chris.
Gwynn and Chris on the Fan.
Tony
2:38 on the clock. Tony Gwynn Jr. Chris Ello, Matt Skraby.
I think you should tell everybody what I was doing during the break.
My man, Chris Ello, who, let me tell you how invested he is in this whole idea of Skraby having to eat a 10 tie or a tie 10. He actually got on the phone in between during the break.
Yeah.
Called a Thai restaurant. Got the whole breakdown. First, he wanted to know the scale. Was it between 1 and 10? We thought we knew. We were pretty much on point with that. It was indeed a scale of 1 to 10. It was a
very annoying phone call.
He then asked, clarified that 10's the spiciest. We got that on record as well. Then he proceeded to ask about the Thai 10 and the American 10. Is there a difference?
Yes. Is there such a thing as those two?
The gentleman on the other line said, yes, there's definitely a difference. That particular Thai restaurant only does Thai.
Right. So that'll be the restaurant
10.
we're going to.
That's the restaurant we will be picking moving forward. We'll come Thursday. Skraby got to listen on the conversation. The next question that I thought was kind of hilarious. He asked how many people order it. The gentleman said there's one guy who ordered it yesterday. Chris's response was, did he survive?
Legitimately was Chris's response.
And the gentleman said, yes, he survived. So all good news
it's
for
doable,
Skraby. It's doable.
It's evidently doable.
We got a restaurant that's Thai 10. We're doing it on Thursday. Now let's get to our NFL guest. Brett Sableski joins us. Bleacher Report. Brett, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing well. Had a nice sunny week in Alabama last week for the Senior Bowl. Now here comes the Super Bowl. Gentlemen, this is the best time of the year.
Yeah, we know you are very fond of this time of year. And kudos to you for getting some sunshine in Alabama, because we're getting none of it right now here in California. But let's talk a little bit about the Super Bowl. We are finally getting closer and closer. We're less than a week away. Let's start with Patrick Mahomes. He's 6 straight AFC championship games. He's going to another Super Bowl. He's already won 2 of these. At this point, has there been anybody in their first, 7-8 years of his career had a better 7 or 8 than he has to start his career?
That's a great way to frame it, because I think when you look at the argument, and I've seen it online, and I think it's a great way to look at it overall. When you are discussing greatest of all time, you're looking for at one, length of career, right? When we're talking about that, it's obviously Tom Brady. Are you looking at peak? Who is the best at their very best? And at this juncture, it's difficult to argue anyone against Patrick Mahomes and what he has done. And I think it's really interesting because those 2 careers overlap, right? And so you get this delineation point where Tom Brady was the end of what we would essentially look at as the old guard. And then you have Mahomes, who has revolutionized the way we look at the position today. And I think that's an important part of the conversation, because with Patrick Mahomes, it's not just about winning, and it's not just about doing it the right way and putting up huge numbers. He legitimately has morphed what we've looked at the quarterback position and changed it completely. How much importance we place on the emphasis with disassociation from upper body, lower body, being able to throw from multiple arm angles, how to work outside of structure, how to work from through your second and third windows and create plays. And that's what is now the standard. So that, to me, is really the indication of what we see with Mahomes at his peak is probably the best ever, with the opportunity to become the actual greatest of all time.
Brent, when I look at this game and I look at Mahomes, I try to figure out a way to beat him. If you're going to pick the 49ers to win, then you got to figure out a way that they can beat Patrick Mahomes. And I'm going through, his playoff log, and it's unbelievable. He's 14-3. 2 of the losses were to Tom Brady. 1 was to Joe Burrow and the Bengals. But when the Chiefs don't drop the football, at least looking back on this season, it seems like they're almost impossible to stop unless you can get a pass rush on him. And when I go back to the Tampa Bay Super Bowl that they got blitzed by the Bucs, Tampa Bay terrorized him. They tore up Kansas City's offensive line, and he couldn't do anything, and no quarterback can under those circumstances. It's the same way Brady used to lose once in a blue moon. You know, when the Giants could get to him with a 4-man rush, they were able to beat him in 2 Super Bowls. So the question is, can the 49ers do something like that to Mahomes?
I do believe so. And, you know, before coming on the show, I still wasn't sure who I wanted to pick for this game. You know, Bleacher Report, we have yet to sit down and put and enter our selections for this game, who we're picking as, you know, through multiple different analysts that work for the company. And I was kind of just agonizing over it to a degree, because I agree with you. And I even wrote it last week when they were facing the Baltimore Ravens. It's like, how do you bet against Patrick Mahomes, right? How do you do that? Then you have to start thinking logically on where those potential holes may be. You mentioned one, and rightly so. Again, you get that correlation between Brady and the Buccaneers and the way they attacked the Kansas City Chiefs. And what we saw at that time was the Chiefs didn't have enough talent in the trenches to protect Patrick Mahomes. And if you guys remember going into that offseason, they completely revamped their offensive line. Like 4/5 of their starting offensive line changed that offseason with multiple investments, not only in free agency, but also through the draft. And that's where they got guys like Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith, who've been absolutely spectacular. With that said, I think one of the major keys in this contest is the fact that Joe Thuney's almost certainly out, and he is their best offensive lineman. And so because of that pectoral injury, now the San Francisco 49ers, you're going to attack that interior. You may not attack necessarily Creed Humphrey or Trey Smith, but you got to have guys like Eric Armstead and Javon Hargrave who can create pressure and collapse the pocket. And the weakness for Kansas City's protection tends to be the offensive tackles. So if you can collapse the pocket, now you have Bosa, right? You have Chase Young screaming off the edges that can make life difficult for Patrick Mahomes. And that, to me, is really one of the 2 major matchups I think that will define this game, the other being San Francisco's run game.
Brett Zableski joins us here. Bleacher Report here on Gwynn and Chris, 2:45 on the clock. And Brent, one of the things that I want to move away from the Super Bowl for a sec, because I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like there's been a lot more conversation about coordinators this offseason than I can remember, like headlining some of these situations. I want to start with the Commanders' new offensive coordinator, Cliff Kingsbury. They move who had agreed, seemed like he agreed to be the Raiders' offensive coordinator. That didn't end up working out. What's been your take on a lot of the movement with the coordinators this offseason?
Well, I think a lot of it is regurgitation of what we've already seen, right? In a lot of instances, these are coordinators that were coordinators elsewhere that either through a failed head coach or failed system no longer had a job and just moved to another one. So it's a bit of rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic when it comes to some of these positions. And you have someone like Cliff Kingsbury, who obviously was a head coach with the Arizona Cardinals, but he was also the play caller and ultimately failed in both duties and was found wanting in Arizona, moved on. See, the thing that's interesting to me with Cliff Kingsbury, and it was interesting not just with Washington, but also when we originally had the reports of him going to Las Vegas, his plight seems very simple to me. He is trying to position himself in the best way possible to become an NFL head coach again, right? That is the way that we feel that he's going to really set himself up. That's why you would go to the Oakland Raiders, where you had control of the offense without Antonio Pierce really interfering. And the same's applicable now that he's in Washington. Here's the big difference. Washington owns a second overall draft pick, and that gives you a quote unquote franchise quarterback in this year's NFL draft, whereas the Raiders are outside of the top 10. So that's a major difference. And if you have aspirations of being there 1 or 2 years and moving on and hopefully obtaining another head coaching position, which clearly seems the plight here, then you want to work with the most talented quarterback you possibly can. And that's why those negotiations, quote unquote, fell apart at the last minute.
It probably,
but overall,
it probably helps to have a guy that he just finished working pretty close with in Caleb Williams around that area somewhere.
Yeah, it's fascinating because, guys, I work with the Bleacher Report scouting department. We study the draft year round. We have multiple guys on staff that breaks down talent. We don't even have Caleb as QB1, and we don't have either quarterback as the number 1 overall prospect. So while, yes, we have them rated as top 5 talents, we're treating him in a manner that's odd to me in certain ways. Like Kingsbury has to get Caleb Williams. He's this quote unquote top end talent. I don't see it in the same way. I think he would be just as preferable to land someone like Drake May or even Jaden Daniels, and they would be well off, very talented kids. And I understand that there's the history there between those two, and the fit would be fantastic. So I can't argue that. But I don't think that's the only end game for Washington here, that they have the opportunity just to stand pat and see which one's available to them. Or if they prefer one, why don't you flip with Chicago and give Chicago a little something on the side so that they can get their quarterback still and add an asset.
Brent Sabluski from Bleacher Report. The one thing I was so impressed with you, Brent, and I'm always am, but you previewed the championship games, and the one thing you told Tony and I was that the Detroit Lions had the best offensive line of any of the teams left in the postseason, and they went out and proved it against the 49ers. And I know it didn't win them the game, but they really controlled the line of scrimmage. Now I want to know, can the 49ers offensive line give them the running game they're going to need to keep Mahomes off the field, keep, Brock Purdy upright back there, and let him do what he does? I mean, this notion that this guy's a game manager, I guess there's some people still hanging on to that theory, but he seems to be proving, week in, week out, if you give the guy some time, he's got the weapons. 49ers are going to score some points even against a really good KC defense.
Well, let me squash something real quick. Every quarterback's a game manager if the play caller is doing his job correctly, right?
Yeah,
because you're operating you're operating within the offensive scheme as designed for you. So that's the whole point of playing the position. I think it's totally overblown when we look at Brock Purdy. Now, what I think is a bigger question is the experience comparatively when you're going against a Patrick Mahomes and being at this stage, and he's only in his second year, and not fully mentioned, as we mentioned before, that they missed most of the offseason with that elbow injury. So I think that's a legitimate question, not necessarily whether he has the talent or if he's just a game manager. To me, that's all overblown. Now, I did allude to this earlier, that the second part of why I think San Francisco has a legitimate chances in this contest is their run game. And I'm not going to take credit for this stat. I believe it was Mina Kimes that threw it out there today. So I fully kudos to her and the research department over on the ESPN side of things. But when you look at the one statistic that blew my mind is obviously the San Francisco 49ers are the number one zone rushing team in the NFL. That goes without saying. It's the Shanahan offense. It's been that way since the mid-90s, since Mike Shanahan developed the system. Now, with that said, here's the important part. Kansas City's 31st in the NFL defending zone runs, okay? So when you have that offensive line as it's currently constructed, plus you start adding ancillary pieces like George Kittle blocking on the edges, if San Francisco finds themselves in a position where they can get up early, if that means taking the ball by winning the coin flip and establishing that run to get points so you're not chasing Patrick Mahomes, that's when you are at a specific advantage over the Chiefs, even though the Chiefs have the number 2 rated defense overall, because they are weak in that specific area against zone rushing attack, against when they're playing base defense, against when you have 12 personnel out there with multiple tight ends. And so that's where San Francisco's strengths are. And you start factoring Christian McCaffrey and just how naturally gifted he is. So to me, and I feel like I'm talking myself into the 49ers as we're having this conversation.
You brought him up, Brent, about Christian McCaffrey. And for this may seem crazy, but bear with me here. He seems to be less talked about now that he's in San Francisco than he was in Carolina. And I don't know if that's because every week we're talking about Brock Purdy and if he's a game manager or not, or what the sense is, but Christian McCaffrey is the most important player, I think, on the San Francisco 49ers. And I would assume it's going to have a big day in order for the 49ers to win this game.
I agree 100%. Excuse me, apologize. The stat that kind of just blows my mind this year is, I know obviously running backs as a whole have been devalued, and I understand the game is now a pass first NFL. That's the way we look at it. It's the way it's played. That's what we want. We want scores, high flying offenses. But still, the fact that Christian McCaffrey was the only running back in the NFL to run for more than 1,200 yards this year is flabbergasting. I mean, guys, I know you're a little older like me. You remember all the 2,000-yard backs and, Barry and Terrell Davis and all those guys, but not on, even going back further with when those workhorses like Eric Dickerson and Marcus Allen. And now we have only one in the NFL. And what makes McCaffrey truly special is not only is he the best pure runner in the NFL, but he's also one of the best. He's arguably the best receiver out of the backfield. Yeah. So you can use him in such a manner to vary the offense in a way to where he is totally dynamic, but also complementary to everything they have on offense, whether we're talking about George Kittle as a primary weapon, as a receiver, and not just as a blocker at the end of the line of scrimmage. You have Brandon Ayuk, who him and Deebo Samuel, who are so dynamic with the ball in their hands that you can use them in a multitude of different ways, not just as receivers, but on motion, jet sweeps and things of the like and screens. So to me, Kyle Shanahan being able to have that ball early and getting up early will be the absolute critical key to what San Francisco does through the entire contest. And it will rely on Christian McCaffrey being the focal point.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, Brent, we're looking forward to it. Can't wait for Super Bowl Sunday.
Brent, that was a nice try. You almost got me leaning to the 49ers, but
hey, we all know when you're betting out there, logic never actually applies. So just do the opposite of what I say.
I don't know about that, man. You're pretty smart. So
you definitely got us leaning a little bit. We appreciate your time, though, Brent. Thank you, man.
Thanks, Brent. Enjoy the game.
I hope everyone else out there listening enjoys as well. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Brent Zableski, Bleacher Report on Gwynn and Chris. He put together a nice case for the Niners.
Yeah, he's making it tough to pick, the Chiefs after the zone running game and everything.
31st.
But I mean, I'm just going to say, I fell for that in the Raven game because I thought the Ravens would blow the Chiefs off the line of scrimmage.
Never happened.
And it wasn't like the Chiefs stopped and the Ravens just never tried it. So I got to believe the 49ers will have a better game plan than Baltimore did.
I really like that principle.
I'm sure you do after that.
You're going to like that tie 10, though, on Thursday. I know that.
We're back to that.
Seriously?
You
guys are more excited about me dying.
That's our Super Bowl Thursday.
We've ever done.
Look, our team isn't in the
Super Bowl.
Yeah, our team's not in the Super Bowl, Skraby, so that's going to be our Super Bowl Thursday.
I'm working with Chris on the other side. Daily Gambit on the way.
Now on 97.3 The Fan.
Heading into the 3 o'clock hour, welcome back to Gwynn and Chris. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Skraby together in our Odyssey Palace studios. Rainy Tuesday, as it were. Be careful out there. Take your time. We'll get you home safely here on 97.3 The Fan. Aztecs take on Air Force tonight. We'll take a little closer look at that ball game later on in this half hour. Also coming up on the show today, Chris's Fantabulous Sports Game Show returns, and it is a rare Fantabulous game show in which Matt Skraby is the reigning champion. We'll see if he can make it back-to-back.
Champ is here.
Yeah, we'll find out how he does in the Fantabulous Sports Game Show coming up in a little while as well. Happy birthday out there goes to none other than
my dad.
Yeah?
Yes.
Well, let's definitely wish happy birthday
That
to your
didn't
dad.
go where Chris was thinking.
That wasn't what I was thinking, but yeah.
What's your dad's first name?
Tom.
Tom,
happy birthday to you, Tom.
Tom Skraby.
Tom
Should I
Skraby.
tell everybody how old he is?
Sure.
63 years young.
63 years young.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
Knew where you were going, Chris.
Tom Skraby, you share a birthday with the Bambino.
Oh.
Babe Ruth would be 129 years old today.
Oh, he totally could have lived that long.
Yeah, if
with
he
his
didn't eat all those
lifestyle.
hot dogs and drink all that beer and chase all those
cigars
women.
and
all of that.
The Babe, February 6th, born in 1895. If you can believe that. All right. Anyway,
that is pretty crazy.
that is kind of
I didn't
crazy.
know that. February 6th, huh?
Yeah, Ronald Reagan also
Wow.
celebrated his birthday on February the 6th. So your dad shares with a couple of very famous names. Here's a bit of good news for you, Skraby, as if you need more on the 49ers. The Madden NFL 24 sim
Saw this.
has played its yearly Super Bowl matchup, and the winner, the Chiefs.
Now
They beat the 49ers 30-28.
they picked the wrong winner the last 3 years.
That is the good news
Oh,
right
yeah.
there.
3
Yes,
years.
the,
I mean-
Madden has missed it 3 straight years. The last time Madden got it right, Chiefs over 49ers 4
so
years
there you
ago.
go.
So that
There
kind of
you-
wipes out your advantage.
Don't be too happy there, buddy.
I was
Don't be
playing
too
Madden
happy.
against some kid last night. It was a Super Bowl matchup. They chose the Chiefs. Obviously, I chose the 49ers.
Uh-huh.
I got crushed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now,
got
who did you
crushed.
play? How does see? I don't.
I
that
played
doesn't-
some kid online.
That
Some
doesn't compute
9-year-old
to me.
child that was
Yeah,
just
he
that was
knows
way
what
better
you're
than me.
playing.
You know what I don't get about Madden is like I run the defenses. I actually pay attention to my play calling because they're so good at picking me apart.
Yeah, so does everybody else though.
But I didn't know there's like you have to pre-snap move everybody.
Yeah,
you
man.
have to man up things. You have to turn on different options on the play
That's
calling
why
screen.
I stopped playing Madden. It's just too much. You got to like. It's too realistic.
And
I don't want to like have to match up the motion that's coming across. I just want to call a defense,
yeah.
maybe bump and run.
Yeah.
That's as far as I go.
I hate when I throw it deep too, and they just run right ahead with their corner. Like no corner's ever just going to sprint to the spot that's on the field and intercept the ball. It's really annoying. Sorry, Chris.
That's okay. I
sounds
just,
like
it
you're not
doesn't
very
compute
good
to
at
me. How do you like? So when you sign on to Madden, how do you find
I
somebody
go and
to
I
play against?
It just matches me with whoever's waiting.
There's
So
like a
that
whole
it's queue,
server
yeah.
of people. Yeah.
Yeah,
that-
but it usually says like
I can get
600,000 online and
Wow.
50,000 looking for
looking for a game.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I will say that I every now and again, here's my nerdy life. I go on to my Spades website.
Sorry.
I play Spades, card game.
I don't think that's nerdy at
and
all.
you
I
can
just-
find you can find people to play against at any time.
Oh,
So
you play online.
play online.
you ever
and
go to people's houses and play spades?
I don't know enough people who play Spades, so I have to play online.
I can hook you up with some folks. I
Do
know
you?
a lot of people play spades.
Yeah,
It gets
Well,
Underground
Yeah,
spades.
it gets
I
rough.
feel I'm pretty good. I'm not trying to say that I would order a 10 Thai food
Okay.
good, but I think I'm pretty good at spades. I play quite a bit of it, and I learned the game playing with the likes of your dad back in the
so, yeah,
baseball
you already
clubhouse.
know.
So I know. I mean, your dad played. We used to play it endlessly back in the day. All right, let's get to the Daily Gambit. Enough of this.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Duh, winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo! If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in The Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, the Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Everybody, please gamble responsibly. We made some bets last night. I'll get into those, and then I'll tell you about the bets. We have our continuing series of Super Bowl prop bets. But the first game we bet on, Lakers, 12-point favorites against the Charlotte Hornets. Tony went no action once again. Chris went Charlotte. I went Lakers. I shouldn't have gone Lakers. They won, but they only won by 6 points.
I think we may be on to something with my no.
You're not going to bet another Laker game the rest of the season.
He's not.
3 in a row right there.
They've won every game that you've declined action.
Yes, that
no
is
action
true.
for me with the Lakers.
By the way, I mean, I like to, get on Anthony Davis. He's not one of my favorites. But when he has a game like that last night, you got to give him his props. I mean, was it 25, 20, and 15 blocks or something? I mean, it was ridiculous.
Stupid game.
I mean, when he has games like that, I don't know. You're a fan. Do you get frustrated when you see him play like that he doesn't play closer to that more often?
Here's the thing: is I've learned that a good game for Anthony Davis is him controlling the defensive end. Whatever his numbers actually look like, I think are less important.
Okay.
If he gets you one of those games where he's like 14, 8, but he's got like 6 blocks.
Yeah, that's a winning performance
because it changes how the Lakers can play if he is anchoring the defense. So I'm less worried about him scoring, more worried about him anchoring the defense, because when he does that, Lakers, as we saw last year, are really, really tough.
Yeah. He was dominant last night for sure.
All right. The next bet that we made would be Luka Doncic over under 34.5 points scored in the game.
What Luka do?
Nothing.
You guys both went over. I went under. He had 19 points.
Yeah. He took a night off in the scoring department.
19.
Yeah.
We have a Bay Area fan in the chat, Balsamic Vinny, that wants you guys to acknowledge that the Warriors won last night, because we're not going to talk about them. So
they don't win very often anymore.
You just
so go ahead.
acknowledged
You can acknowledge
it. Yeah,
just
of course.
It.
Of course.
Shout out to the Warriors.
Good win for them. Kawhi Leonard over under 26.5 points last night. You guys both went over on that one. I went under, and I was wrong. He had 36.
Big night for Kawhi, and the Clippers are just rolling along. I don't know that anybody can beat them in the West. I mean, right now, certainly, Minnesota and Oak City and Denver and the Lakers are certainly viable contenders.
Lakers have got good records against those teams. They got bad records against the rest of them.
Yeah, the Clippers have been
I heard
fire.
It might have been Kendrick Perkins say we were watching them with Kawhi, as it pertains to Kawhi Leonard. We were watching the modern day Michael Jordan in the triangle. Like, that's how effective he is in the offense that the Clippers are running. You remember, Michael, it was like clockwork. They run him from one elbow to the other elbow. He post up. He could kick out. There's just a lot of things he could do. That's basically what you're seeing from Kawhi right now. He's been healthy too, which I think is probably the most important piece of that.
We don't ever discuss Kawhi Leonard as one of the greatest NBA players of all time. If he wins a third championship and a third MVP with a third different team, and who can say they've ever done that?
We remember before the knee injury, we were talking about him like that. After he came back from the knee injury and went to Toronto and won a championship, we were talking about him.
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, Jordan can't say that, right? I mean, Larry Bird can't say that. Magic, nobody can. Kareem, I think, he won one with the Bucks and the Lakers. But I mean, if Kawhi Leonard won one with Toronto and San Antonio, he wins now with the Clippers of all teams. You'd have to really put him up there.
That's the only thing that's stopping him, honestly.
It might be. They still say Clippers on that jersey.
I'm sorry, you can't change that.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Clippers fans. They just want some love. Come on, guys. Come on.
It was such low hanging fruit. There. I had to grab it.
Kansas at Kansas State last night. Kansas 4-point favorites on the road. Chris and Tony said Kansas State. Chris might be onto something with these ranked teams playing on the road against non-ranked teams. Kansas State won 75-70.
It's a thriller.
I mean, every night these ranked teams go down on the road.
They don't drop though, like the Aztecs do.
No, Kansas was number 4. They'll be number 3 next week.
Then the final bet.
They drop the opposite way.
Yeah.
Final bet Rangers -1.5 on the puck line against the Avalanche. And you guys chose the Avalanche. I chose the Rangers. Rangers did not do me well because I shouldn't have said do me well. That's not English. Rangers 2-1. 2-1.
Did not cover. So the totals from last night, Tony was 3-1. I was 4-1. Tony had the no action in the Laker game.
Couldn't do it.
Now Skraby gets off to a bad start this week. 1-4 for you.
That's the real Skraby. Please stand up.
All right. You want to do your Super Bowl props?
Yes. This hour is brought to you by the Farmer's Dog. Now, first one is Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. His over-under on passing yards, 261.5, according to the odds that I saw on Sunday. 261.5. Chris said over. I said over. Tony surprisingly went under here. I'm surprised. Why did you do that?
261. That's a lot of yards, man.
Okay. Thanks for the explanation.
Against the 49ers, I mean, as much as I dog the 49ers, they got a good defense. It's just, I'm just saying, they're not slouches.
Okay. That was a great explanation.
No.
Brock Purdy passing yards over under 245.5. Chris and Tony went under. I went over.
See, he's going under too.
I have a stat to support this one.
Okay.
Chiefs only allowed 4 of 19 passers so far this year to go over their prop total.
Oh,
so that's some research for you.
Really good number right there.
Very few people went over against the Chiefs this year.
I think this game too is going to be.
So we'll see.
By both teams is going to want to hand the ball.
Doesn't guarantee that you'll win that bet, but at least you'll have some knowledge.
You feel good about making that bet.
You would have some knowledge.
Rashee Rice receiving yards over under 67.5. Chris and I went over. Tony went under. Well, he's got to keep with his Patrick Mahomes under.
As long as he picks on that number 20, he'll get over.
You mean Thomas?
Whoever the 49er guy
Thomas,
was,
I think
can't
his name
guard
is.
Anybody. Yeah,
he's not great.
Yeah, they find him.
Then Deebo Samuel receiving yards over under 57.5. All of us agreed over on this one. And then the final one for today, Travis Kelce receiving yards over under 70.5. You guys went over. I went under, basically thinking that if the 49ers are going to win, they're going to have to keep Travis Kelce in check.
They're not going to. I mean, and they could still win, but the Super Bowl is not going to allow Travis Kelce to go unnoticed.
You're feeding the frenzy.
No, it's
right
true.
now.
It's true. If the Chiefs win and it's all about Taylor Swift, we know why. I mean, the NFL put Taylor Swift on their Instagram account during the year. So, come on. We know that
you guys are
really
contributors to this hysteria.
Hysteria. We know that the NFL is cheering for the Chiefs.
It's absurd.
I told you last night I was watching the ESPN. My wife was kind of dozing off. She popped up after the Super Bowl coverage. Can you rewind? I want to hear what Travis Kelce said.
It's so crazy.
I said, "You're the worst." I mean, this is
popped up out of dead sleep.
Right. What did Travis say? I mean, it's unbelievable.
It is pretty
My
unbelievable.
wife's falling for the banana in the tailpipe.
All right.
All right, here's we go for tonight. We've got the Aztecs at Air Force. Got to give 9.5 points on the road at altitude. But Air Force only has one conference win. We'll start with you tonight, Skraby.
What was the spread?
9.5.
9.5.
Yeah. It's a lot. Aztecs won by 10 there last year, if you want a little reference.
They haven't been playing great on the road as of late.
No.
Aztecs win, Air Force covers.
I'm going to take Air Force. I'm going to take Air Force, too. It's too many points in that, and I hope I'm wrong, but usually I end up being right on these. The Aztecs win a closer game than we think. Tony?
Aztecs win, Air Force covers.
All of us going with Air Force, taking the 9.5.
Bad omen.
Jaden Ledee, over under 18.5 points tonight for the Aztecs. He was limited a little bit the other day. I don't think that Air Force has the size on the inside. to control him, so he'll go over 18.5. Tony,
Book the over, please.
book the over. Scrape.
Why are you being so weird?
He's just
Over.
He's excited about Thursday. That's all. It comes down to.
Why wouldn't I be excited about it?
People in the chat are saying it's their Super Bowl.
We get 2 Super Bowls this week, Thursday and Sunday.
Yeah.
Ooh, I just thought I saw something on Instagram today that I want to cook for Super Bowl Sunday.
Okay.
Fried chicken sandwiches look pretty tasty. Just thought I'd share that.
That does actually sound tasty.
Is there a heat index with these?
There can be. It looked like the honey that is drizzled on the chicken is somehow has jalapenos.
You and
in it.
honey.
Yeah,
something
man.
going on. You have honey on your frozen grapes too.
I haven't done that in
Haven't
a
done that in a
while.
while.
Haven't done it in a while.
My man Ryan in my neighborhood, he still eats that as a late night snack and refers to you often.
I might have to go back to that. Was Old Faithful during the pandemic time.
Yeah. Boise State's at Colorado State tonight. 2 big teams in the Mountain West. Colorado State at home, favored by 5.5. Tony.
Ooh, Colorado State
Tough game.
5.5. Boise.
Yeah.
I'll say Colorado. It's at where?
At Colorado State.
Yeah, I think Colorado State will cover that.
Cover that.
That rain is coming
Skraby.
down hard right now.
Who are you going?
I'm gonna go Colorado State.
I am as well. They beat the Aztecs by more than that, so they should beat Boise State by more than that.
Boise.
Milwaukee at Phoenix tonight, NBA matchup, rematch of the finals from a few years ago. Phoenix is favored by 3.5 over the struggling Bucks. Skraby. Doc Rivers, the Eastern Conference All-Star coach.
I feel like there's a little bit of karma heading towards the Bucks way, so I'm going to say the
good old
Suns.
karma's coming and get an organization.
Doc Rivers straightens things out. I'll take the Bucks plus the points. Tony?
Bucks plus the points, please.
Bucks for you. And one more, Jalen Brunson is our key player tonight. He and the Knicks are taking on Memphis.
Lakers had to shut him down.
31.5 for Jalen Brunson. That's how good he's gotten. I think Tony's up.
31.5.
No, I'm up. I'll say under.
Against
Memphis.
Oh, yeah.
Tony?
Over.
Scrape?
Does Memphis have enough players to play?
I don't know. They're holding open tryouts like the
they had like 10
TCU
guys out
women's
the other
team
day.
did.
I'm going to go over.
Also over. Okay, we'll see how we
What
do
are you,
tomorrow.
Chris?
I went under.
Okay, under.
Jalen Brunson, 31.5. That's a big number. All right, there's our picks for tonight. We'll see how it all turns out tomorrow. And there's our daily gambit for today. When we come back, a little closer look at tonight's Aztec game at Air Force. All 3 of us think it's going to be closer than expected. Why is that? We'll tell you when Gwynn and Chris resumes after a check of traffic.
From the 97.3 The
3:24 on the clock. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Skraby. Chris's Fantabulous Sports Game Show follows this segment. Skraby with a chance to repeat.
Go back to back.
Back to back.
I don't believe he's ever done that.
I think I've done it once.
I don't think you've ever
No,
done
I
that.
think I've done it once. I surprisingly, I was actually off to a hot start when we first started playing this game.
Yeah.
And
I
then
think
it's all
you
come to a
celebrated
crash.
by going out to a Thai restaurant and ordering a Thai.
Okay, the joke is not funny anymore.
It
funny
seems like
until-
we're still laughing.
It's still funny.
You are still laughing.
What did we tease to?
Well, the Aztecs have I think a tougher than you think game tonight at Air Force. Not you, but just people in general. Air Force is 1-8 or something like that in the conference. They've lost 11 of their last 12 games. The one win they had, though, they crushed UNLV by 32 points. So, they're capable. And we've talked about this all year, especially when you go on the road if you're the Aztecs. You're going to get everybody's best shot. And I feel like they'll get Air Force's best shot tonight. And that's why I would, bet take the 9.5 points. I hope the Aztecs blow them out. But the Aztecs really haven't been blowing teams out, especially on the road. Look at what happened at San Jose State. They barely survived that game, and that's their only conference win on the road so far. So that's my thinking. Brian Dutcher, did you hear what he said yesterday?
No, what did he say?
It's like going to the dentist. You don't want to, but you have to go.
Yeah.
You have to play Air Force.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, it's a weird place to play. I don't know how to describe. It's the arena itself is part of a much larger sports complex on the campus. And it's so large that it has an indoor track and field facility. And it also has a hockey arena. And then adjacent to the hockey arena on the other side is where the basketball are. It's just a weird setup. It only holds about 5,000 fans. They're right on top of the floor. And it's an altitude game. There's a lot of crazy things that happen when you go to Air Force. So Aztecs will have to deal with all of that tonight.
Yeah,
But-
it's not a fun trip, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Going to Air Force, but many of those guys have done it multiple times at this point. So,
Right.
it's not going to listen. We've said this time and time again. None of these games in this conference are going to just be you just going to walk over anybody that you play against, especially on the road. We've already seen that in real time. And
Yeah.
so they should expect it's going to be a tough game, but I do think they'll answer the call and get this victory because, as we talked about, after this game, you got 2 tough games coming up right after.
Oh, yeah.
And you get them at home, but nonetheless, they're going to be tough.
Well, actually, you don't. You're going to Nevada on Friday.
Oh, that's right.
So that's a road game there. And
Second one's at
Nevada's tough. Let me just take a quick look here. And then after they go to Nevada, then they're home for Colorado State and New
That's right.
Mexico.
That's right.
So back-to-back. Next week, they got 2 basically ranked teams. I know Colorado State's not ranked this week, but they've been ranked all year. Yeah, the schedule's really tough after this. You can't let this one get away if you want to win the league, because Nevada, Colorado State, New Mexico, Utah State are the next 4 games. And there's are 4
So
of the
you
best
can't
teams.
afford to really let this one go.
No, you can't.
At all.
There's a little pressure on the Aztecs to make sure they, for lack of a better term, hold serve here.
Yeah,
they can't let a game like this go, or they're not going to win the league
I think this is
in the regular season.
This is a game where you lean hard on Jaden Ledee.
I hope so.
You-
Pound it into the big fella.
Pound that basketball down and play some bully ball.
Yeah,
And
a little bully,
a little
ball.
bully ball.
I like that.
Because there aren't too many dudes I've seen yet
No,
that can check him with his back to the basket or however he wants to get to the basket.
he went against the best in the league in Utah State Saturday, and he dominated that game until the last 10 minutes, and then Butler and Trammell and
They got
everybody
going.
else
Yeah.
took over, but he had a big game. Yeah, I hope this is like San Jose State was his biggest one when he had the 31, remember, and he drew like 25 foul shots or something. That's the kind of night they need tonight. So,
Yeah, no, it's definitely. I don't want. Skraby likes the term "must win." He was trying to use that last week.
It was
too.
a must-win last week.
there's one must win for you this week.
Thursday,
Okay.
baby.
That'll be
my
Thursday.
goodness.
One
Will you guys
massive
please?
bite, and you're done.
You guys
That's
have pushed me. I'm gonna actually call HR and tell them that you guys are trying to bully me. So,
We're playing bully ball against you.
not bully ball. You just are playing bully.
It's great. You need this in your life, man.
I wish that we had an HR to go complain to, but we don't. So
We honestly don't have a. We
no,
must.
we do. We do.
All right.
Not in the building, but within Odyssey, yes.
All right.
Fair enough.
You guys done with your HR talk?
I think it's very interesting.
Let's get to break. When we return, it's time for Skraby to defend his title. Can he do it again? Chris's Fantabulous Game Show when we return.
All right, if you love Mediterranean food like I do, try Spiro's for authentic Mediterranean cuisine. They're in Coronado at the ferry landing, or in La Jolla, corner of Prospect and Fay. For dining or takeout options, visit spiroscuisine.com. Give me a euro. All right, this segment is brought to you by Spiro's, and this segment happens to be our weekly venture into Chris's Fantabulous Sports game show. If you haven't heard before, I'll give the guys a subject, a topic, a category. They will have to name correct answers, alternating, and whoever does the best will win. Basically, you can play alongside out there and see if you can do better than Tony and Skraby. Last week, Skraby won a thriller. The category last week was NFL teams that have a stripe over the top of their helmets. Skraby came up with the Baltimore Ravens right at the very end to pull out a rare win in this particular game. We'll see if he can make it back-to-back today. I'm actually going to give you guys a little choice on the category. I'll tell you what I mean after we check some traffic.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Got a few problems now. Northbound side of the 5, right before Genesee, a collision over to the right shoulder. Also traveling on northbound 15, right before Miramar Road. There's a crash, couple vehicles involved. Appears to be over the right shoulder of the HOV lane. And further up, got a stalled car in the HOV lane right around Poway Road. Just take it extra carefully out there, guys. We've got some scattered showers hitting the county, some very slick roadways, and have those headlights on so you're more visible to other drivers. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Hey, all you beautiful people out there. It's time to play one of our favorite games of the week.
All right.
We like to call it
Ooh, I'm going to go.
Chris's Fantabulous Sports Game Show.
It starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, the Fantabulous Sports Game Show is underway, and we welcome you in. We had to do a Super Bowl category this week, guys, with Super Bowl 58 coming up. My first notion was to have you guys name the 15 franchises that have won multiple Super Bowls, but I thought that'd be too easy. I thought you'd just rip through all 15 of those without too much problem. So I didn't think there'd be a lot of interest. A couple of weeks ago, we did Super Bowl MVP quarterbacks. That was quite an exciting matchup. I think Tony won that one, but it was very close.
Yeah.
So I'm going to really test you guys today. Today's category, Super Bowl MVP, running backs, and wide receivers.
Oh, my goodness.
There have been 15 of those over the years. Now, if you'd like, I can also throw in the 9 defensive players that have won Super Bowl MVP.
It doesn't matter.
And you could try to name any of those, but I don't know that you would even know any of those guys offhand. So do you want to?
We're just doing running backs and wide receivers?
Yeah, we're just doing running backs, wide receivers, unless you really want to include defensive players.
Skraby?
I don't want to include defensive players. Tony, do you?
I mean, no, we probably should.
I don't know that you can name any. You might be able to get one or two.
I can get one.
Yeah, probably Ray Lewis.
I only have one.
No, it wasn't him.
It wasn't going to be Ray Lewis.
Put him on the list.
No, we're not doing.
We're not doing defensive
players. I know.
All right, so there's 15 running backs and receivers that have won Super Bowl MVP. It's a tough category. Like I said, it's going to challenge you guys today. If you get one wrong, you get a strike. 3 strikes and you're out. First player to get 8 correct answers will win. Unless somebody strikes out, of course. Tony, you get the option to go first or not, because you are the defending runner-up, as it were. What do you want to do?
I'm going to let Skraby go first.
You're going to let Skraby go first, therefore giving Skraby the chance to potentially strike out earlier.
Yes,
all right, Skraby, name a running back or wide receiver that has been named Super Bowl MVP.
Desmond Howard.
Desmond Howard. All right.
He's a wide receiver.
Yeah. All right. Then there's 16. I'm going to give you that one.
He
did play receiver. He won it as a special teamer, but that would be, I think you're fair.
Super Bowl MVPs, running backs, or wide receivers.
Desmond Howard. So there's 16 correct answers. Going to need 9 to win now.
How about Emmitt Smith?
Emmitt Smith.
I was going to say him.
He did. He did win Super Bowl MVP 1993. That was the second time that the Cowboys beat the Bills when they went back-to-back. Teams played each other back-to-back years.
I don't know whose Post-its these are, but they're about to get written all over.
You're going to be making notes. All right, Emmitt Smith is correct. He was a Super Bowl MVP. We're tied at 1.
You said Desmond Howard.
Skraby.
I gotta say, I am not confident in this category.
Not confident in this category.
I'm gonna say Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice, you would think with his superstar
I'm
career,
not sure. I'm not sure, honestly.
Won a Super Bowl MVP. The year that the 49ers beat the Bengals.
That was
the
a good
second
one.
time
That was
Jerry
a good-
Rice made like 11 catches for 210 yards. He was a Super Bowl MVP that year. Although it's interesting, he caught all of the passes on the famous game-winning drive except for the touchdown pass.
That was
John
Taylor,
Taylor.
right?
Which went to John Taylor, right. All right, so Skraby takes a 2-1 lead. Tony, you're up. Super Bowl MVP backs and receivers. Not easy category. Not
No,
easy.
it's not.
Gonna be tested today, guys. Gonna be tested.
How about Lynn Swan?
Lynn
I
Swan,
have
the
him on my
graceful Lynn Swan, Super Bowl 10. He only made 4 catches that day, but all 4 of them were highlight reel catches. It was unbelievable. I can actually picture them all in my mind right now.
So
I
it's
can't
wrong?
picture him because I didn't see him live like you did. But
He was empty. Yeah, I've seen the highlights a million times. There's a classic shot of Bradshaw throwing him the clinching touchdown and getting laid out,
crushed.
as he let the ball go on a hit that would right now the player who hit him, a defensive lineman by the name of Larry Cole, would be kicked out of the league for that hit.
Oh yeah.
I mean, helmet to helmet and beyond. Bradshaw never saw it, but Swan hauled it in. He was MVP of Super Bowl 10. 2-2. Skraby, you are up. There are 11 correct answers remaining. Super Bowl MVPs who played running back or wide receiver.
I am not 100% sure on this one.
All right.
I love when you start a question
But-
and answer like that.
I think he may have done it. Santonio Holmes.
Santonio Holmes. He of the famous catch in the corner of the end zone
Tippy toes.
to beat the Arizona Cardinals on a pass thrown beautifully by Ben Roethlisberger.
Who did not win.
Santonio Holmes earned MVP honors with that catch.
Wow.
That is correct, Skraby.
Wow.
Okay.
You all right, buddy?
Sorry.
This is why, if you at all can, you want to watch the show on the YouTube
That was a
stream.
lot. That was
So you
a
can
lot.
catch all of these shenanigans that go on here. Very good, Skraby. You're ahead 3-2. No strikes yet. There are 10 answers correct remaining. Tony Gwynn Jr., the pressure switches to you.
How about the original rare white running back, John Riggins?
Oh, the diesel. Yeah, he broke my heart. Super Bowl 17. Ran on a 4th down play, ran over cornerback Don McNeil, who was
stepped all
just
on him.
stepped on him. Don McNeil, unfortunately, was about 1/8 of John Riggins' size. It wasn't a great matchup that the Dolphins got, but they were winning that game until that run in the 4th quarter. Riggins ran his way to Super Bowl MVP. Correct.
That's a good one.
Yeah, very good. It's 3-3. Guys are gone 6 up, 6 down. There are 9 correct answers, actually 10 correct answers remaining. I beg your pardon. 10 correct answers remaining. Skraby, pressure switches back to you. Receivers or running backs who won Super Bowl MVP honors.
What you got, Scrape?
What you got, Skrabe?
What you got, Scrape?
I'm going to say that going forward, these are just educated guesses.
Educated guesses.
Yeah.
And I want to know how long you're going to take between each guess, because the people who play Chris versus the Fans have been given a time limit.
They
now.
have very
By
much.
none other
I've
than
been ready
you.
to answer, but you guys are just talking.
I see.
so.
Okay.
All right, who's your answer?
Julian Edelman.
Julian Edelman.
That's a good
Nice pull, Skraby.
Thank you.
Very good.
I wasn't sure, though.
I think he was that the Falcon game
I think
that
it
he
was.
was. I think so. He made
was
that
balling.
ridiculous catch that he pulled off the turf.
Yep.
Julian Edelman. Good job, Skraby.
Thank you.
Well done. You take a 4-3 lead here, and there are 9 correct answers remaining. Tony, still no strikes on the board.
How about the San Diegan with migraines? Terrell Davis.
Terrell Davis, yeah.
Wow.
Very good. Very good. Lincoln High's own Terrell Davis. Super Bowl MVP here in San Diego.
Had
How about
migraines
that?
in that game.
He had the migraines so bad that Shanahan had to run him into the game so that they could do a fake handoff and score an earlier touchdown.
Yeah.
And he said, I can't see. And Shanahan said, you don't need to see.
just
when they snap count, just run forward like you're getting the ball. And they ended up getting a touchdown. Then he ended up scoring the winning touchdown later. All right, 4-4. Terrell Davis is correct. By the way, lucky to meet Terrell Davis a couple times. Fantastic guy.
Yeah.
Really terrific guy. And I like to point that out when we can.
Back when the Padres are at Qualcomm, he came down and spent some time with my pops. There's a picture that floats around.
He is a good
sitting
guy.
next to my dad in his locker.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Terrell Davis, big time guy. All right, gave you an extra moment to think. You're up, Skraby, in a 4-4
I already
tie
went, buddy.
with 8. I don't know.
I've tapped out on all my guesses, though. I've written them all down.
I don't know if this one's true, as I've said many times before. I cannot remember back this far, but Cooper Kupp.
Cooper
You
Kupp,
took
that was
another
2
one of
years
mine.
ago.
I know.
What do you mean you
I
can't
couldn't
remember
remember
back
if it
that
was
far?
Matthew Stafford or Cooper Kupp.
It was Cooper
You
Kupp.
got it
baby.
right. You got it right, Playboy.
Super Bowl MVP, caught the winning TD against now Dolphin Eli Apple. Why they picked that yo-yo up, I have no idea. All right, Skraby. You know, he's trying to. He's
I'm almost there.
He's bidding for back-to-back titles, and he's got a 5-4 lead.
I got a few guesses up my sleeve here.
Tony Gwynn Jr. with 7 correct answers remaining. Go ahead.
How about the late Franco Harris?
Oh, man, one of my all-time favorites. Franco's Italian Army. Ran over the Vikings in Super Bowl IX. Set a then record of 158 rushing yards. Franco was indeed a Super Bowl MVP for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Another person that I had occasion to meet later in life. And just another fantastic human being.
Solid.
Franco Harris was great. And I was one of those guys you meet that because he was a hero growing up. I was a little kid. And he just made me feel at ease. He had that power. The late Franco Harris is correct. All right, 5-5. 6 correct answers remaining. You guys are racing through this without any strikes yet. Skraby, what do you have?
I don't know.
You don't know.
Yeah, Scrapers. Come on, it's time to.
Tony's raising the stakes.
It's time to come on home, man.
I'm
bring it to the wire.
hoping
You're hoping
that out of the 3 Super Bowls the Cowboys won in the 90s, that Michael Irvin won one of them.
Michael Irvin had a huge game in the 52-17 blowout of Buffalo. But they gave the award to Aikman that year.
Okay.
And the other Cowboy guy was Larry Brown, a cornerback.
That's the one I was going to guess.
That would have been your defensive guy?
I thought you were going to say Von Miller.
No. Well, Von Miller was another defensive player who won it.
I knew
Anyway,
that wasn't gonna be
Michael
right.
Irvin does earn you a strike. He was not a Super Bowl
no.
MVP.
Here we go. It's over.
Well, and as usual, Skraby is such a gamer, isn't he? It's one
He got
negative
that
thing
dog
happened
in him.
to him, and he folds the tent.
I'm not folding any tents.
You just said, here we go. It's over.
It's over.
All right, Tony can take the lead for the first time here, but he can also get his first strike.
How about another San Diego?
Staying in San Diego here.
Marcus Allen.
Yes, Marcus Allen. One of the
Really? I didn't even know. Honestly, I can't remember him playing a Super Bowl.
Well, it was 1983 season.
It was early, yeah.
Is that before you, Scrape?
1983 season?
Yes.
Yes.
Look it up. I think it's the greatest run in Super Bowl history. The one he ran a sweep to the left.
Oh, okay, I'll just look up Super Bowl MVP great runs.
Well, you will see it.
I'm just saying it could help
I
me
know.
cheat.
He ran a sweep to the left. The cornerback came up unblocked, and Marcus just turned around, reversed his course, and then found a hole up the middle, split about 5 guys, and ran 70-some-odd yards for a touchdown.
He hurdled somebody in there.
It was a beautiful run. All right, so Tony takes the lead 6-5. Skraby, you got a strike. And there's only 5 correct answers left. I don't know if you're going to get any of these guys. They're, well known enough, but they're tough to come up with for sure.
Yeah, I know,
he says.
Man. That one's already been said.
I could give you a hint, but Tony would frown upon that.
Yes,
Very
he
much
would.
so. Very
Okay.
much so.
Give me a couple seconds. to
Yeah, you
search
got
that
plenty of
old
time.
Rolodex.
I don't have the time limit rule like you do.
Wait.
Uh-oh.
I'm just throwing out a wide receiver that's very good.
Go ahead.
Because I don't know that this is the guy.
Have at it.
Marvin Harrison.
Marvin Starvin Harrison. Yeah. Pretty sure they gave that one to Peyton Manning.
I figured.
The year the Colts beat the Bears in the rain.
I figured.
And I think that was Marvin's only Super Bowl.
It was indeed.
Yeah. So that is not correct. You're down to 2 strikes. You're on the doorstep. Tony can put it almost out of reach if he gets one here. There's 5 correct answers remaining, Tony.
We had the conversation about maybe it not being necessarily relevant or an indication of how great you were by winning a Super Bowl MVP.
Right.
Deion Branch comes to mind.
Deion Branch caught 10 balls against the Eagles the night that Donovan McNabb threw up on the field.
Who did he play for?
New England Patriots.
I don't even have it. What year was this?
Never heard of Deion Branch, Skraby.
No, I've heard of Deion
It
Branch.
was the Eagles.
I believe it was 2004. It was the last
came
time.
back after a broken leg and was catching balls, and
Deion
Branch
Branch
was catching everything.
Not denying it. I just don't remember that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That was the last time we had back-to-back Super Bowl champs. Patriots in 03 and 04.
Things are flying already.
Well, Skraby, I got good news and bad news. The good news is if you miss this one, Tony will not be able to get another question right because the game will be over. The bad news is if you miss this one, the game will be over. Uh-oh.
I can still get you one if you need it.
You got one more, huh? Tony, Skraby, there's 4 correct answers for you to keep the game going and keep alive your chances of back-to-back titles.
I don't. Oh, that guy doesn't play wide receiver.
I will tell you this. There's 2 running backs and 2 wide receivers left. I will give you that much of a hint.
Give me a second.
I'll give you all the time you need. I told you should have watched those Super Bowl films that have been on NFL Network all weekend. Could have prepared you for this.
Could have. I honestly don't even have a good guess, so I am going to say David Tyree.
David Tyree.
They should have given it to him, but
he does have the most famous play in Super Bowl
believe it was
history.
Eli Manning.
Eli got that. Sorry, Skraby. You can play the music. Tony wins this one today, and Skraby's 1-game winning streak comes to an end. Very good, though, guys.
That was a tough category.
It was a tough category. You got 12 of the 16 correct, so that's pretty impressive. Tony, you are the champ. I think you get to celebrate.
Low, man. Can you turn that up a little bit?
Yeah, I didn't
please?
hear anything.
I need to hear it a little bit better.
I don't hear anything here.
Well, you don't hear anything to begin with.
Sounds like dead air. Here we go. Champions dance.
Hines Ward was another one you could have had.
Hines Ward, Pittsburgh Steelers. Fred Biletnikoff.
The
Oakland Raiders. The 2 running backs you did not name.
One was for the Redskins.
No. O.J. Anderson from the Giants.
No chance.
That was on the wide right Scott Norwood Buffalo game. And a guy close and dear to my heart, Larry Zonka of the Dolphins.
Wait, in the
back in Super Bowl 8.
American Gladiators.
We talked about
Timmy Smith holds the record. He did not win MVP that year. Doug Williams did.
That's
for
right.
the Redskins here in San Diego. But Timmy Smith was a good
Nevertheless,
thought.
He does not
you were a
repeat
winner.
as champion. That still has yet to happen in the history.
Tony prevails.
Fantabulous
Just for fun, I'll give you the defensive players. See if you remember any of these. Von Miller. You mentioned him. Malcolm Smith of the Seahawks, the year they blew out the Broncos. Dexter Jackson, a safety for the Buccaneers in the win here against the Raiders. Ray Lewis, Larry Brown, Richard Dent representing the 85 Bears. Randy White and Harvey Martin shared the award in Super Bowl 12 for the Cowboys. Jake Scott of the Dolphins in their perfect season, Super Bowl 7. And the only losing Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl 5, a linebacker from the Dallas Cowboys named Chuck Howley, got MVP even though they lost the game. So that's how they used to do the Super Bowl MVP. I guess there's hope for Brock Purdy to win it this year then, Scrape. They can give it to a member of the losing team.
Oh, I see what you're doing here. I'm just stuck in my head over here about how bad I just lost.
You didn't lose that bad.
Wasn't that bad?
Well, I think you
Three
performed
strikes,
admirably.
3 strikes to none is not bad.
Performed admirably.
It was a lot harder with just
It was very tough.
running backs.
How'd you guys do out there?
I wouldn't have got the I would have had like one defender. Or
Yeah,
two
I would have had-
defenders accounting right
Yeah,
now.
that's why I didn't think to include it. Wouldn't have added a lot to the proceedings. All right, coming up on our proceedings is Chris versus the fans. 833-288-0973. You now can play some trivia and perhaps go to Las Vegas. Not in time for Sunday's game, but nonetheless, a trip can be yours. But you got to call into play.
Coming
Now-
up on Wednesday's show, it's the return of Annie Heilbrunn to Annie and
And into the 4 o'clock hour we go. Chris versus the fans coming your way here shortly. You get a chance to qualify for 2 tickets to Tom Kiefer and LA Guns on April 11th at Westgate Las Vegas Resort Casino. Of course, if you are able to win that and qualify, you have a chance to see 2 iconic bands, Tom Kiefer and LA Guns, come together to perform live again April 11th at Westgate International Theater at Westgate Las Vegas Resort Casino. Get tickets now.
Every time the
Ticketmaster.com.
camera's out of position, I move it back by myself with no problem. This time Skraby came over to help.
Just knocked it all down.
Yeah.
And now your camera's off line.
Is it off
It's
kilter?
off kilter a little bit.
Come on, Skrabe.
Well, I couldn't get your attention, so I just decided to take it upon myself to go do it.
Yeah, should not have.
Yep.
Definitely should not have. So you want a chance at those Tom Kiefer and LA Guns tickets, or want a chance to qualify, I should say. Give us a call, 833-288-0973. You'll get a chance to take on Mr. Ella, who yesterday, I think, had a day off, basically.
Yeah.
I believe the first caller just went 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. And
Got
that
them
was
all. It
that was
Wyatt.
that was when we were under the gun, too. We got to the actual Chris versus the fan at, I believe, 4:10 yesterday. And
what were we talking about?
Was it
about the spicy?
No, that was a little earlier.
No, actually, I think it was, because we talked about the spicy for the first time at 3:40 yesterday. I know the show from yesterday way too well after going through it.
Just because you stuck your foot in your mouth, as
I sure did.
You sometimes do.
Do you want to play us the clip again?
Yeah,
I want to hear it.
I think the folks should hear
I believe I deleted
Did you
it.
delete
You
it
did
already?
not.
I deleted it already.
Go ahead.
Did you
Play it.
really?
Cue it up for the folks.
When I go to like a Thai food place and they ask you for your spicy level, I say 10.
What?
Yeah.
Stop it.
What? Stop it. You might as well have just said that the Padres signed Blake Snell. I mean, that's how shocking that was to Tony.
I know. I should clip this for all time.
What?
Yeah.
What?
That was pretty good.
That should be used again. I don't know. Chris, did you see our guy Patino? What he said, Rick Patino?
Rick Patino wants a salary cap
He wants a salary cap
on college athletes. Yeah.
That's-
I don't know why he's one. Well, no, you know why he's not at Louisville anymore.
Right.
That's right.
Is he
he's
at Iona still?
Iona. They don't have the same kind of money, of course.
Nah, they don't.
Yeah.
It's ironic that he is the one calling for a salary cap. He's been handsomely paid as a coach every stop he's been at, as far as I know.
Yeah,
Maybe
they didn't cap any of his contracts.
They certainly didn't cap any of his.
Didn't they just a judge ruled that Dartmouth, those players are employees of the school and they can go forward with creating their union?
Yes,
which is kind of crazy.
Yes, and that is likely to have ripple effects across the board. Now, it's only in the college world could there be one school that has a team that's actually in school employees, and then the other schools across the nation are just student athletes. It's only in the NCAA world.
I didn't get too much into it.
That could happen.
I didn't get too much into it, but I'm looking forward to seeing
the
full
reality
story.
is that we talked about it. They are making up rules as they go. And so the rules are changing daily.
Yeah.
They are trying to find a way to put some type of stopper on a fire hose right now. And
right.
They're gonna need to find a way to just shut the water.
They've let toothpaste come flying out of the tube, and there's no chance of putting it back. But they're going to try anyway.
They're going to try, absolutely. So
good call.
All right, let's without further ado, let's play some Chris versus the fan.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
howdy do.
Now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know what you're in for.
Chris versus the fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right. The rules. You have to make it through 3 questions. Each question will get more difficult. If you get the question right, you move on. If you get it wrong and Chris gets it right, you are eliminated. But if Chris gets it wrong, then you move on to the next question or you win. If you are a first-time player. Tony tried to jump in there real quick.
A little late.
Just let us know before the first question. You get that one for free today. That's it.
All right. Let's get to our first contestant. Matt. Not Skraby, but Matt.
Yes.
On the line. Welcome to the show.
You know, it is funny that the master of student athlete compensation, Rick Patino, would have something to say about that.
It is funny.
Well said, Matt.
He's definitely the master in all ways. All right, here we go. First question, Matt. What 49er player's mom said she couldn't afford a suite at the Super Bowl?
Boo-hoo.
Oh, I remember reading this, but I don't remember a name. I'll go Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy's mom.
Brock Purdy's mom said she couldn't afford it.
Stay there. I don't know.
That would make sense because Brock Purdy only makes about $80 a year.
That is true. He makes very little money. He's going to win
little in terms of the NFL.
Yes, right. He's on like a rookie contract.
Yeah, that's what's still a lot of money.
He's on a Mr.
Folks.
Irrelevant rookie contract.
And that's why the 49ers are so good. They got a good quarterback that they don't have to pay. Christian McCaffrey was this one, I believe.
It was indeed.
By the way, I went through these suites. I don't know if it was on our show or the Skraby
It was our
show.
We did it together.
But I still cannot believe that the $2.5 million suite only has like one parking pass included in it. Like you paid $2.5 million, you get one parking pass.
We went
or two
over
or
the
something.
suites
Is
when
that
this story
true?
broke. Yes. $2 million, man.
Wow.
And that's like the best suite they got in
Yeah,
the building.
the second one is $400,000, and the lowest one I think is around $200,000.
So for $400,000, do you get a parking spot with that?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I honestly don't
you
think
got
so.
an Uber there.
That's amazing.
You got to be
That
dropped
is.
off. All
I
right,
don't know which one they got, but you got to think that Taylor Swift is getting the $2.5 million one.
Why
right?
not?
Why?
That
wait.
bothers you.
Why does Taylor have to have that?
Because she's the richest one in the building.
Maybe the McCaffrey's ponied up to get.
Actually, she probably isn't
afford it.
Well, shortly after Mom said that, CMC's
Olivia
fiance
Culpo.
Olivia actually bought a suite. We don't know which one.
Wait, his fiance?
His fiance.
Yeah.
Because
she's a model.
His fiance?
My
fiance.
Getting to know the way the world works after she probably said something that said that she couldn't afford it. I'm sure there was some type of backlash, pushback that your son's CMC.
I do think it's ridiculous that they have to pay so much for their tickets.
And it was just the way she said it, right? At the end of the day, she's like, I don't want to pay $400,000 for a suite. I think everybody would have been cool with that.
I heard a lot of people upset about that. I didn't take it as she was saying that she's better than us.
I didn't either, but that is typically how
that may not have been
go.
what she said, but that's what she meant.
Let's go to our next contestant. Todd, welcome to the show, Todd.
Todd. Hello, Todd.
Hey, how are you? Todd and Carter here again.
Oh, the duo is
here
back.
We go.
Here we go. First question. Mark Mudcat Grant was drafted 10th overall in the first round of the 1981 MLB draft by what team?
Jeez. St. Louis Cardinals.
He's going with the Birds, the Cardinal.
The only reason I ask is because Mark Grant is beloved in this town. I think this is known. So if you guys feel it's a fair number one.
I don't know. I know he was with the Padres early, but I thought he was with the Giants first. So I'll say the Giants. I don't know.
Sorry, Todd and Carter.
Sorry, guys. Always good to have you on, though.
If you don't know, Mud is very close to the Giants broadcast crew.
Kruk and Kite?
Kruk and Kite. Why? Okay. Because they were on the team when he was a rookie, and they basically brought him along as a young guy. Yeah. Those are the only two guys I've ever seen, and Mudcat can verify this, that I've ever seen make Mudcat seem like he's a rookie again.
Oh, really?
The only
they
two
still
cats.
have that.
They still have that effect
him.
of it. They don't do it. They don't use it on him, but you can tell he has a utmost respect for both of those guys. Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
Good.
All right, let's go to our next contestant.
As well, he should.
Yeah, he's definitely. Those are two of the best we got in the business for sure. Let's go to our next contestant, Lucas. Lucas, welcome to the show, man.
What's up, fellas?
What's
Nothing
up?
much,
Hi,
man.
Lucas.
Here we go. First question. Name the teams the Chiefs had to beat in the playoffs to make it to the Super Bowl this year.
The Baltimore Ravens.
Okay.
That's one. You need the other two.
And the Bills.
Okay. And the first one?
The Ravens?
No,
you
I'm
said
sorry.
The Ravens and the Bills.
There's three teams.
Who
Yeah,
else would
three.
they be?
One
They'd
more
be three.
team.
Oh, geez, sorry.
I'm sorry.
So
sorry.
Well, I put that other game out of my mind entirely.
Oh,
so
I knew he
don't
knew this.
recall.
I didn't want to hit the button, but I'm getting pressure from everybody.
You got your 10-second counters out
Yeah.
there? That's what you get.
Do I need to say Ravens and Bills again?
Yes.
You just did.
Dolphins. Yeah.
Sorry, Lucas.
Sorry about that, Lucas.
Here we
All
go. Next contestant, Tyler.
I will say I felt better about the Dolphins' loss after I saw the Ravens lose to them, though.
Yeah. No,
Made me
I can
feel
see
a
that.
little better.
Tyler, welcome to the show.
Hey, guys.
Hello.
Here we go. First question.
Why did I say it like that?
Flip it on you, Tyler. Name the teams the 49ers had to beat to get to the Super Bowl.
They beat the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
They beat the Lions.
Nice
help.
Very good. Got a little help there.
Lies. That
Nothing
is
wrong
the
with-
answer.
Yeah, they
Not
only
allowed
played
to
two
go
games.
with-
That was my son Vaughn. He helped
Way
me
to
out
go,
there.
Vaughn.
Vaughn,
What's up,
nice
Vaughn?
work, man.
Vaughn.
Nice job.
Here we go.
Should we put him on the line for the second question, or do you want to?
Here we go. Question number 2. What round was Travis Kelce selected in the NFL draft?
Oh, brother. I love these.
Shot in the dark here. Let's say third round.
Ooh,
That was a good shot.
Very
Good
good shot in
shot.
the dark.
I had no idea he was drafted in any round.
Did your son offer up a help on that, or did you?
Ron,
go with
was that
one?
you again?
No.
He's like, nah.
All right, here we go. Question number 3.
Very good.
These are tough right here, as they should be. Which of the Padres' minor league affiliates have been with the team the longest?
Boy.
Is it the Storm?
Lake Elsinore. He's going
Lake
with.
Elsinore.
Stay there.
Yeah, stay there. My guess is Fort Wayne, but I don't know.
I thought we were gonna
Oh,
get a winner.
Just
Sorry
barely.
about that.
All right, we gotta go.
The
tiebreaker,
Storm
tiebreaker.
came not too shortly after. If
Sorry
I'm not
about that.
mistaken.
Close.
Yeah,
Close.
so-
Why are we going to a tiebreaker after so few contestants?
So few contestants.
Yes. Did you not? drum
No,
up
I
enough
mean I
questions?
did. I had 5 questions each, and now we're down to like 2 and then 1.
Perfect.
All right.
That's not perfect
we're
because
going-
then I have to come up with like 15 more questions tomorrow.
Are we going with the tiebreaker or are we going to go one more round?
It's late enough for the tiebreaker.
All right. Skraby is
Sorry.
insistent on the
Sorry.
tiebreaker. Derek, do you know how the tiebreaker works, my friend?
Aztec for life. I do.
Aztec
all
for
right,
life.
Derek.
What's our
Good to
player,
have you
guys?
aboard.
Our player is Derek Harper.
Oh, I remember him. He was
Dallas
on the-
Mavericks guard.
I thought he was on the Bulls.
He was
Oh,
no, that's
okay.
that's a different
Ron
Harper. That's
Harper.
Ron.
Ron
Harper.
Harper.
You're thinking
Okay.
of Ron Harper.
Never
This
heard
is
of Derek.
Derek
then.
Harper was.
He's a pretty
I
good
think
player,
Derek
man.
Harper was a little better than Ron Harper.
Really? Oh,
Ron Harper
okay.
gets the nod because he won championships, but I think Derek Harper was. As
I mean,
good.
Derek Harper also
Derek Harper
played.
was a hooper.
Yeah, he was.
Derek
good.
Harper played 17 seasons.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
All right, so I'm gonna ask Chris a number question. He's gonna give me the answer, and then Derek's gonna guess whether the actual answer is higher or lower than what Chris guessed. So,
Okay.
Derek Harper, as I said, 17 seasons in the NBA. How many? Oh man, this is gonna be a crazy one. How many total points did he score?
Oh, brother.
This is a tough one.
Let's see. I'm trying to come up with a reasonable answer. 15,000.
15,000.
Correct.
Derek,
That's my guess.
is the actual answer higher or lower than 15,000?
Lower.
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 Oh, he scored more than 15,000.
How many did he have?
16,006 points.
Wow, I was reasonably close.
You were reasonably close.
All right.
All
Derek
right.
Harper.
Let me go with our next contestant. Adam in Poway.
Hey, Adam.
Adam, are you there?
Yo, how's it going, guys?
Pretty good. All right, so you're playing the tiebreaker. Chris, how many steals did he have in his career? Derek
17
Harper.
years. He had at least 10 would be 170, 20 would be 340. I'm going to say 500.
500 steals. Adam, is the actual answer higher or lower than 500 steals?
100% lower.
100% lower. Oh,
brother.
I'm sorry, Adam.
He had to have way more than that.
He had a ton more than that.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
He had 1,957 steals. in his career.
1900. I said
Yes.
500. That's I'm
You're
usually not
pretty
off by
close.
that
Yeah,
far.
He went over 140 steals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons in a row.
Very good.
8 of the last
Taking
9 or
people's
8 of 9.
pockets.
All right, let's get to our next
Picking
contestant.
people's pockets.
He really is. Let's go to Tom. Tom,
Hey,
you ready
guys.
for the tiebreaker?
Hey, guys.
What's up, Tom?
Hello, Tom.
Hey, real quick, back on Chris's game, you guys, Mr. Gwynn, the only high school in the United States to ever have 2 Super Bowl MVPs is right here in San Diego.
Yes.
Oh, is it?
Tony guessed both guys, Marcus Allen and Terrell
Yeah,
Davis.
but you guys think Marcus Allen both went to Lincoln. That's just
They did.
fantastic. So
Very
We had
good.
one of them going to Lincoln. We didn't
Yes,
mention
I
the other
didn't
one.
mention Marcus went to Lincoln. I left that
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
but
super
you're
cool.
very right.
Okay.
Very, very
first
correct.
time player.
All
First
right.
time player.
Oh,
First
save that for
time?
next time.
Oh, yeah. That's
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
I'll
because
do
we're on the
next time.
tiebreaker.
Can't do the first time player call, though?
Oh,
can
first
save
time
it.
player! Save it
Next
for next
time.
time.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, Chris, how many personal fouls did Derek Harper have in his career?
Somebody keeps that?
Yes, they do.
Good luck with this one.
Yeah.
This is a hard one to even gauge.
82. I'm going to say about
3
3
a
a
game.
game. Yeah, 250 times 17, which I can't really do off the top of my head. 3,500.
3,500 personal fouls. Forgot who. Tom, is the actual answer higher or lower?
I'm going lower.
You're going lower. Where did the stats go? Okay. Personal fouls. Chris, you said 3,500. He said lower. Tom is the winner. Stay there, Tom. I'm going to get
Thankfully,
your
Tom.
information in the break.
What was that? 250 times what you said?
17 years. So
4,250.
That's way too many. 2,755.
So he's probably averaging a little like two fouls per
2.5
game.
per game.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I didn't know.
That
how
was
to
a tough
gauge
one
that
for you to gauge. Tom, stay right there.
Very
Tom's-
good, Tom. And thanks for the input and the knowledge on Marcus Allen. Marcus Allen, just to add to your knowledge, was the quarterback at Lincoln High.
Oh, he was the quarterback.
Yes, he was. And he ran a lot of Lamar Jackson type
I was
plays.
thinking he probably did.
Yeah, they just snapped it to him and he took off. And
Do your
nobody
thing,
could tackle
Marcus.
him.
Did he ever throw?
I'm sure he
he
did.
did.
He played before I saw high school football. So
All right, let's get to break. We've stretched this pretty long. More Gwynn and Chris on the other side. Here's some traffic.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by the San Diego Zoo. Considering it's pretty wet out there, I'm surprised we don't have more crashes, but I will name these to you. Northbound side of the 5 before Genesee. It's over the right shoulder. Also eastbound 8, just past the 805, a collision involving a couple vehicles there over the right shoulder. And collision on northbound 15 before the 76 tow truck is on scene. Other than that, what you got mostly is just a lot of closures around the county, all due to flooding. So give yourself plenty of extra time wherever you're heading. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports.
Skinny Crisello here, just finishing off an apple. Yes, my habits much improved after I checked in with SD Fat Loss and lost 37 pounds last summer, and I've kept the weight off. Their maintenance program is as good as the diet itself. Time for you to do something great for yourself. Kicking off the new year the right way. Lose some weight, feel better, get the compliments that go along with it. Call SD Fat Loss to find out how. 858-665-3211, or you can check them out online at sdfatloss.com. Either way, get your free private weight loss consultation. Find out the secret to losing up to a pound of fat every single day, naturally, safely, and effectively. You don't have to count calories. You don't even have to exercise. And you don't have to eat that, food, the prepackaged meals. Nope, your own stuff. And they'll tell you what you can eat what you can eat, and you follow along, and this diet will work. SD fat loss, 37 pounds. That's no joke. Find out for yourself. 858-665-3211. As I like to say, you've got nothing to lose but the weight itself. Thanks to Tom out there. Very nice contestant who won Chris versus the Fans today. We talked about some of the Lincoln High, the fact that they've got 2 Super Bowl MVPs among their alumni. There's some pretty other good athletes that went to Lincoln High too, Tony. Keely Smith, highly selected
Baller.
quarterback in the NFL draft. Wally Henry was a punt returning specialist for the Eagles. And let's not leave out the current LA Clipper, Norman Powell, has become quite the player for the Clippers. Also a Lincoln High grad.
Keely Smith is doing some good work with the young quarterbacks around San Diego. See him out of San Diego State, working out some of the young and upcomers.
Speaking of like high school stuff, this isn't high school related necessarily, but congratulations. They did the inductions last night for the Breitbart Hall of Fame here in San Diego for 2024. The 3 inductees, one was a high school coach, Terry Bamford, who runs a great program on the girls' side at La Jolla Country Day. Most deserving. The other 2 you're going to be a little more familiar with. Donnell Pumphrey, the great Aztec running back, was inducted. And
saw that.
Our friend Eric Weddle, now the head football coach at Rancho Bernardo High School, was on our show a few months ago. So congrats to those folks. It's a nice honor.
It is.
Being a San Diego Hall of Champion inductee.
Chris, I thought you would enjoy this quote I found from Coach Prime. We haven't heard from him in a little bit, but a couple, maybe last week, Marlon Humphrey, the corner defensive back for the Ravens, made some comments about Bill Belichick. He said, the greatest coach of all time did not get hired out of 6 head coaching job openings. I think that debate can now be put to rest. And Dion responded, Lord Jesus, help our youngsters understand the definition of respect.
Perfectly said, Dion. I mean, we've talked about it so many times, and I know Brady went on and won another Super Bowl, but this notion that all of this happened without Bill Belichick's input is just ludicrous. And when you think about Tom Brady and his Super Bowl titles, keep in mind that one he got on an interception at the goal line.
Yeah, he was about to lose that one. Yeah.
Malcolm Butler, that was Belichick's defense. The other one he got...
Supposed to be a run play, too.
Well, it wasn't supposed to be a run play. I mean, they just called a pass play. And the other one he won, he beat the Rams one year 13-3. Belichick's defense completely shut down. The Rams. Belichick's defense also shut down Kurt Warner's Rams in Brady's first Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know Brady won them all, and he's the GOAT, but, to completely forget about what Belichick's accomplished.
You can make the argument that his mistake was giving up on Tom. His only mistake was giving up on Tom Brady a year too early.
I mean, they've had the Patriots had the best defense, and they did it with really very few, Hall of Fame players. They sprinkled, in there, but whoever he got, he just made it work. Anyway, we don't need to argue in defense of Bill Belichick.
Let me ask you guys this craziness that I thought up on the Skraby show.
All right.
If you were to go and draft a quarterback through time, we're basically talking Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady here. If you were to go back and draft a quarterback on physical talent, who are you drafting?
Well, I'm a little bit biased here, but I think the best pure passing quarterback that I saw was Marino. That might be a bias. Okay. I also think that I could make a fair argument with Marino. So that would be my.
I did open it up for everyone, but I should have narrowed it down.
Because
basically, no, that was a good answer. I think a lot of people.
What were you trying to get?
What I'm trying to get at is that Patrick Mahomes may be more athletically gifted than Tom Brady was, and so Patrick Mahomes is the better football player.
I think that the prototype has changed now. I think now teams, as opposed to looking, because it used to be teams were looking for the Tom Brady type, right? And probably more the Dan Marino type, right? Big arm, big quarterback,
big presence,
sit in the pocket, read defense, all of that. I think now what you have is the next version of that, which is now Patrick Mahomes
and then run around,
be able to either extend plays or move the chains with his feet. That's the new
You got to have
prototype.
it. You almost have to have it. I mean,
Defenses are being built to stop that quarterback because the defensive now, if you're just solely a pocket passer, they can get to you now.
The leading passer in the NFL this year was Tua in terms of yardage. Tua is nowhere near being the best quarterback in the NFL, though.
Right.
He might not even be in the top 10. And that's because he makes no plays happen with his feet. And I mean, you almost have to do that now. So,
Have to.
Yeah, agreed. I wonder, I was trying to look up how many yards Marino gained rushing in his career.
Oh, that would be really fun.
I'm not finding it.
Tom Brady also
has
has a very low.
Couldn't have been too many, though.
Let me see.
Here's Marino. I found it.
Okay, I'll go with Tom Brady.
Marino rushed for, more than I would have given him, 301.
Oh, yeah.
In 242 career games.
301.
Yeah, in 242 games. So about 1 yard per game for Marino on average.
Tom Brady had more than I thought, too. He had 1,123 yards.
Now, if you would have
Marino
told me,
had 1/4 of what Brady had.
If you would have told me, I would have guessed that Brady outrushed him.
Yeah, I would too.
I would have thought. I don't think I can ever remember Dan Marino doing anything but throwing lasers.
I honestly don't remember Tom Brady doing anything but throwing.
Not too often. Marino was really, really good, as Brady was, at just getting the word was evading the rush,
slipping
the rush, and stepping to the side and buying it a little more time. He certainly wasn't going to run anywhere, though.
No.
How many catches does Tom Brady have in his career?
2.
He's got 3.
Did he?
Yeah.
I knew he had 1.
I know Lamar Jackson had 1 the other day. And
that wasn't even.
That was
designed.
the leading gainer of the day for the Ravens. Was not a good sign for them.
No.
In that championship.
Tom Brady
game.
tried to catch a pass in the Super Bowl, but it just went.
Oh yes,
just
the
out
Eagle
of reach.
game. That was
a wild game.
That was a fun game.
It definitely was. I'm just hoping for a good game this weekend, guys.
No, you're
I'm
not.
I'm hoping for a boat race.
Well, I know the 49ers will do that.
No, not from their side. The other side.
I don't understand why you want to see the Chiefs win.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
49er
Is it
fans.
just to get back at me?
No, 40. It's not even really you. It's 49er fans in general.
You happen to be part of a group
just
that
part of a big nation.
we're not fans of.
I will tell you what my friend told me the other day about all the hate. Because the hater's gonna hate.
You are
and the play is gonna play.
Oh, the little Taylor Swift there. See, I think you should be very well versed in what haters do. I mean,
I'm trying not to be one.
You are the head of the pack there.
Yeah, I'm trying not to be one.
Not trying hard enough.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Chris. Can we go to break now?
Big 5 on the other side.
Ben and Woods.
4:39 on the clock. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Skraby. Big Five headed your way. The best football show with Brian Boldinger wraps up the football world in 15 minutes so you can be smarter at the water cooler. Join Baldy as he explains the biggest stories from multiple vantage points and the ripple effects it has throughout football. He dissects the NFL's most exciting moments and top players as only a film junkie can. Follow the best football show with Brian Baldinger in the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. Let's check traffic and get to the Big Five.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive Through Oil Change, your 15-minute instant drive through oil change. Well, folks are doing a pretty good job of navigating our wet roadways this afternoon. A lot of closures due to flooding, though, so you definitely want to just give yourself extra time if you are going to be hitting the roads. Right now, an accident clearing stage eastbound 8 just past the 805. Also, a stalled vehicle blocking one of the lanes on the Loma Santa Fe off-ramp, northbound 5. Traveling on northbound 15 right around El Norte, someone has dropped some plywood in the 2 left lanes. Stop by 8 of the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Drive Through Oil Change Centers. You don't have to get out of your car, and it usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for discounts, locations nearest you. Valvoline Oil Change Centers are open 7 days a week. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
Just would like to tell everybody that Tony brought in the same food that got me in hot water yesterday because he has his noodles and he's sweating.
And it has me in hot water right now.
It does. Go to the cam on YouTube. Just search 97.3 The Fan.
Yes, and that, again, is like a 1 heat rating compared to what you're going to try and enjoy on Thursday.
Should be fun.
It boggles my mind what gets you guys going.
You guys going, buddy.
Come on now. Tell me the chat and all of the people.
Yeah, they're just feeding off of
tweeting
your
in.
energy.
Oh, please. They don't need our energy to be looking forward to watching you suffer Thursday.
Number 5.
Chris says that with so much glee in his voice.
That's right.
I mean, he says it as confident as you said. I order a 10 when I go to a Thai restaurant. It sounded like an infomercial almost too.
An infomercial.
What?
All right, let's get into the Big Five.
Number 5.
And some news came down earlier today. Jose Altuve is looking at being an Astro for life after being extended by the team for 5 years and $125 million, according to sources. He's an 8-time All-Star. He's a mainstay in the baseball playoffs. He's been to many World Series. Tony, is Jose Altuve a first ballot Hall of Famer?
I don't know if he's first ballot, but he's a Hall of Famer. I think so. He got over 2,000 hits, which normally wouldn't be the number. He's got 209 homers. But he's an MVP. He's an 8-time All-Star, an ALCS MVP. Yeah, man. 3-time batting champ, Gold Glove.
It's all pretty good.
And listen,
the cheating scandal is going to keep him from getting some votes, I think.
Oh, that's
I forgot about that, honestly.
Don't take my shirt off.
Regardless of him actually ever being
take my shirt off,
implicated and being a part of. I mean, he was on the team, and he's on the offensive side. It's not like he was a pitcher. Whereas I think the pitchers are going to get a pass on whatever happened there because it was the offense.
And plus, there was like the example of him in the walk-off game-winning home run. Honestly, not letting anybody touch his jersey, and people have always felt he was hiding something. I can't confirm or deny it, but that's what people think.
He's 13 years in, assuming he can stay productive he just signed a 5-year extension.
Yes.
Through the next 5.
Yep.
I think he can get there. I don't think he's a first ballot, but I think if he can continue on the path he's been on, that also is going to mean he's going to have to stay healthy, right? Because last year he played 90 games. 2020, he played 48. Outside of those, he's been relatively healthy. 200 hits in 4 of the 13 seasons. I think if he can keep up the pace and stay healthy, he'll be a Hall of Famer.
Chris, what do you think about Jose Altuve? First ballot Hall of Famer?
What I said. I mean, I think no. I don't think he'll make it because of the cheating scandal, and I think that will follow him throughout his Hall of Fame vote. I think it'll take him very close to maybe all 10 years to get in, but I think statistically wise, he seems deserving.
All right.
That's probably a good way to say it, because you don't know how, unlike the steroid era, right? They basically said they were going to penalize anybody in that era that, was suspicious, right? Because none of those guys have gotten in. You don't know how writers are going to vote on that particular scandal yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, we could get to that point because, listen, we'll assume there's 5 years of his career, another 5 before he becomes eligible. So 10 years from now, will writers still have the same animus towards it that they do now?
The thing with the steroid era is it threw a blanket over everybody.
Everything.
When you talk about the cheating scandal, unfortunately for him, Altuve's name is one of the first that pop right into your mind. Him and Bregman and Correa, those were the 3 main guys that people seem to think were at the center of it all.
You're 100% right. And that's the thing about your decisions, right? It doesn't, and whether you were involved with it or not, you're on the team, and that decision could have implications 10 years down the line
for sure
when it comes to the HOF part. And that's a tough pill to swallow.
All right. Let's move to the
Number 4.
Now, we're going to make a little switcheroo as I'm going to, for you guys on the sheet. There was a report.
That means Skraby didn't like something about his question.
No, I can't get the audio to play. So I got it for the actual number 4. We'll come back to that. There was a report in ESPN today about the Jets most definitely wanting to trade quarterback Zach Wilson. The report went as far as to say it's likely they're most likely looking at a 6th or 7th round draft pick, but no one is sure how this is going to play out. The last top 10 quarterback to get cut by the team that drafted him was RG3, who was selected number 2 overall in 2012 by Washington and then released after 4 years. Since then, the only first-round quarterbacks to be cut by the original team were Johnny Manziel, Paxton Lynch, and Dwayne Haskins. So not a list you want to be on, but Chris, would you bring Zach Wilson into your team?
Tua's not that great, but no. I've seen enough of Zach Wilson to think that no.
What about you, Tony? Would you bring him in?
I'd have to be pretty desperate right now. I mean, he hasn't put anything on film that I shouldn't say that. He hasn't put anything in a game that I've watched that would make me say, oh, yeah, that guy can be my starting quarterback. And it's not like he didn't have some pretty good weapons to play with either.
Yeah.
So I hope he can figure it out. But if you
I don't know
ask
how the
me,
Jets are going to get rid of him.
That's what I'm saying.
Who's going to take
6th-round pick?
Why would
Good
you?
luck.
I mean, those are valuable. We've come to find out.
6th rounders, yeah.
All the
7th
time.
rounders are even more valuable.
The pick is
Sometimes.
definitely valuable. You could turn into Brock Purdy. Who knows?
You said it.
Number 3.
I can't get the audio to work, so I'm just going to read the quote. But we've talked about Mike Vrabel and his employment status in the last few weeks. Chris thinks that Mike Vrabel's a Hall of Famer, but NFL teams were not as sure. Diana Rossini of The Athletic...
I love that he wrote that into the question.
Diana Rossini of The Athletic proposed a strange reason as to why teams passed. She said on The Athletic football podcast, I don't think there was a fit for him. I don't think he sat in front of any owner who thought his style was going to work for what they were looking for. I had a GM at the Senior Bowl who mentioned to me Vrabel's physical build, that he's a very large human being and can be very intimidating to people in an organization that are going to be part of these decisions. And that is a factor. So, Tony, you're up first here. Is his intimidating stature the reason he doesn't have a job?
This is so ridiculous on so many counts. I mean,
leave it to Skraby to read it and think there's something to it.
I mean,
hey,
I would love to know.
You are going to hire me, and you are going to like it.
I don't see.
I would love to know what GM went up to Diana Russini.
Yeah, no kidding. Somebody admitted this.
These are people that deal with large human beings on a daily basis.
This is so ridiculous. You know what? Whoever that GM is, I hesitate to say this kind of thing, but you should be not in that position anymore. If you are not giving job interviews based on physical appearance and possibly being a little intimidated.
Doesn't that tell you something?
Could you imagine
about
John
him?
Lynch saying, man, sorry, you're a little too big.
John Lynch is a sweetheart. So
well, he's also not a small man himself. So
He's not.
They're
all big.
That is just so ridiculous on so many levels. I don't even know how to answer that.
The reason I think that she might be telling some sort of truth is because it's so crazy.
Don't get me wrong. I think she is telling the
Okay,
truth.
all right.
I'm just saying the GM that said it
needs to rethink.
He probably should get a
I
different
hope
job.
it's not my GM.
Lee.
Oh, it was definitely the Dolphins GM.
Yeah.
No, Chris, what do you think about this? Do you think it's the actual reason that Mike
Well, I
Vrabel
think-
doesn't have a job?
Of course not. But I have a better conspiracy theory for you, one you haven't brought up yet, surrounding newly hired coaches.
Oh,
this
okay.
one's floating around. The NFL forced the Chargers to fire Tom Telesco and Brandon Staley, and the NFL is helping the Chargers pay for Jim Harbaugh because they knew that the Chargers wouldn't
do it
come
right.
up with the money on their own. The NFL's reasoning being that they want a real franchise in Los Angeles in the Chargers. So the NFL told the Spanoses, you hire Harbaugh, we'll help you. Just pay whatever you got to pay.
I think I'm into that.
You have to hire
Is this
Harbaugh.
really out there?
This is out there.
I think I'm into that.
It's being shot down in most circles, but that is a conspiracy theory that's out there because a lot of us have said we never believed that the Spanoses would get it right.
I wouldn't doubt that.
So
just
that's one you
because
might be able to get behind, Scrape.
They have tried really hard to prop up the Chargers. Like that one time they planted the fan in the stands.
If you don't knock it off, dude.
And like made her seem like she was like some super fan, and then she was interviewed on all these shows, and then they found her going to other games and wearing different jerseys. Anyway,
It benefits the NFL if the Chargers are a better franchise. So maybe the NFL told the
consistently
Spanos.
falls for the banana in the tailpipe.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not a
Consistently.
banana in the tailpipe.
Oh, it is though.
That is a banana out of the tailpipe.
Number 2.
Could the A's actually be stuck in Oakland? We've heard a ton as of late about how much some people in Las Vegas don't. Why are you laughing over there, Tony? How much some people in Las Vegas don't want the A's to move there, and now a pretty powerful person, that's a hard one, in Las Vegas has come out against the move. Mayor Carolyn Goodwin was on the Front Office podcast, and she said a lot, and it was a very long clip, but basically she said that she wants the A's to go back to Oakland and figure it out with their city. She said that she thinks they really want to be in Oakland. So I believe I'm on Chris. Is this much ado about nothing, Chris?
No, we discussed it earlier. I don't think it's much ado about nothing, but I don't think it's going to hinder their eventual move to Las Vegas. I'm trying to keep it short because I know you're low on time.
Okay, thank you. Tony?
Yeah, I don't think there's much teeth to this. I can't think of too many mayors that have been able to basically get rid of a team moving to their city.
Yeah.
Maybe and it could be, if you listen to her comments, she had a different place in mind that she wanted the team to move to. And maybe this has something to do with it. You never know. Politicians, man, they're
very strange.
Strange. Strange is a good word too.
Number 1.
All right, get ready, Chris, because we are about to stream all of our sports. Today, the news came down that ESPN, Fox, and Warner Brothers Discovery plan to launch a joint sports streaming service later this year. The platform, which will be owned by a newly formed company with its own leadership team, does not have a name yet, but the product will be a according to the article, a skinnier bundle of linear networks than
skinnier
bundle of linear networks than a
Sounds like I'm
standard
doing
cable
a,
offering.
Fat loss commercial there.
It does sound like that, but this is going to be the wave of the future. I mean, they're going to make you pay a certain amount to watch these sporting events. And so this is just new news, and nothing really further about this has come out. But Tony, what are you thinking about this whole
I'm thinking this
fusion?
reminds me of the Big Ten and the SEC trying to get ahead of the whole NIL.
But no, they care.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. I think this is when you got this kind of money and you join forces, you're just preparing for something that's going to happen that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
That's what
I
it feels like.
I agree. Chris, what do you
Well,
think?
I just don't know why you make fun of me that I don't want everything to go to paid streaming. I would think you wouldn't want everything to go to paid streaming also, yet I take all the blame for this.
I mentioned your name because you've been very vocal about the fact you
I'm
do not
vocal
like
because
streaming.
I'm trying to stick up for everybody out there, not just myself.
I stream my stuff, so it doesn't matter to me. I can't even remember the last time I watched something on cable.
Well,
a
it
sporting
matters to
event.
me.
Okay.
And it should matter to more people.
My man,
Okay.
my man Justin Thomas pushing back against Rory McIlroy.
Oh, the PJ Tour is so annoying right now.
It's your peoples.
So annoying.
We'll talk about
It's
it.
my
Man.
people.
Here we go into the happy hour of Gwynn and Chris, final hour of our Tuesday get-together. 5:01 is the time. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Skraby, together in our Odyssey Palace studios. We are coming up on the Skraby Chronicles, which get underway at 6 o'clock. And the fun thing about that show is that Skraby can say whatever he wants, and it goes unchecked by both Tony and myself.
Thankfully.
Thankfully. That means you can be the bearer of misinformation without any blowback from anyone.
I will tell everyone that I'm much more careful about what I say on that show, because
you people out there
show?
On the Skraby show.
The Skraby
You're much more careful?
Yeah, because I know that if I say something false, one of you will say something.
Right. Well, if you say something false on this show, we'll correct you.
Right. There's no guardrails on your show.
There's no guardrail on your show. I will say, people, you guys out there are, amazingly
relentless
and picky. Because I said earlier that Kawhi Leonard has a chance this year to do something incredible, which would be to be Finals MVP for a third different team. And I said, man, that's just something that you don't see in the NBA.
Right.
And I said, well, Kareem, I think, did it for 2 teams. I left out LeBron James. Boy, did they let me know.
Guys.
Boy, did they let me know. LeBron James did it for the Cavaliers, the Heat, and the Lakers. And you know what? You're right. But I'm just saying, if we miss something, you'll let us know out there.
Of
By the way,
course.
both
No
your cameras,
question.
please. Both your cameras.
Sorry.
I wonder,
cameras.
because I've been told before, because to me to me sometimes if depending on my mood, I take it as like, you guys stink. Sometimes, when someone tries to like correct us on something.
Leave us alone.
Yeah, but I think more people, often than not, just want to
participate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, listen, I don't have an ego, big enough ego to be mad at that. I think
No, I'm not either.
I think ultimately, we know our stuff.
Yeah.
We know our sports, but we're not gonna catch everything. Sometimes
we do miss some stuff.
We're gonna forget some names. I know. I certainly do.
Here's the tweet that I can live without. The one that says, Chris Ello was wrong again today. How did they keep this guy on the air? I'm like, that tweet,
I'm sorry I sent that.
I know. Was that your burner
account?
I mean, you're right. I am wrong sometimes. So is Tony. But I bet you whoever wrote that is wrong once in a while, too. You're just not wrong on the radio all the time.
No.
We say thousands of words each week. We're going to slip up on a few. Excuse me? I mean, it happens. And the funny thing is, you can say we're wrong. Neither Tony nor I nor Skraby claim to be right all the time. We don't claim that.
Nope.
So just pointing out that we're wrong.
Oh, here's a chat. Here's a key chat. We also want correct information.
Yeah, well, we try to give you correct information.
Exactly. We're not doing it on purpose.
I can't help it if the dog bounty hunter website said that he might have died. I'll never live that one down.
We've had a couple instances, dog bounty hunter being the biggest one in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. All right, let's move on from him. Coming up,
Tony had something to say. I think.
I was getting ready.
Sorry.
Maybe I shouldn't say it though. So let's move on.
Gonna leave it out?
Nah.
Yeah, I don't think I should.
All right, it opens me up to say this then. Thursday is our Super Bowl here on the program, and I have had a couple of messages come in. People that want to tune in and make sure that they do not miss Skraby's attempt to eat 10 alarm Thai food. And so they're asking, when are you going to do that? I will say this without having checked with Tony first. We're going to do it as early as we can in the show.
We're going to have to.
Because we need to leave Skraby as much time as possible to recover once he has tried to eat the Thai 10 food. The only thing will keep us from probably going right to it is like if the Padres signed Blake Snell or something.
That'll definitely keep us from going right to it.
That
could derail the whole thing, actually.
That could derail the whole thing if they signed Blake Snell.
I'm going to call the Padres.
You better get working on that, Skraby. Otherwise, make sure you're on time to the show Thursday.
Chris has been giving Skraby tips on how to coat his stomach.
I sent him an article and everything.
Chris has never sent me an email in my life.
Looking out for you, Skrabe. Looking out for you. That's all.
Why is it that you guys don't remember or care about anything. And then this is like the one thing that you guys are all about.
Well, because we're just giving the listeners what they want.
This is kind of like the time where Woodsy said he could hit a 90-mile-per-hour fastball, and everybody had it all set up.
Yeah, he had to create COVID to get out of it.
This is kind
I
of
thought
like
he
that.
said he could hit a hundo.
It was a hundo.
No,
You sure?
It was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure he said he could hit a hundo.
We were
and we were
supposed
going
to
set him up at a batting cage to line him up against 100-mile-per-hour.
They had
pitch.
it set up, didn't they?
We were going to go broadcast from this batting cage until COVID shut everything down.
Yeah.
I don't think he
Woods-
said a.
He said a hundo.
He did.
Say a
I'm
hundo?
almost
I'm pretty
sure
sure he said 100.
And
I
that's
don't
when
think
we
he said
called
a hundo.
cap on that.
Cap.
But
I
he never
love
had
that.
to prove it one way or the other because COVID hit.
And then he talked to some smart people, I think, because then I think he realized.
100's tough, man.
I think I
Coming from a guy over there across from me who
It,
hit 104.3.
I can't like say that I know exactly how he would swing because I've never seen him play baseball, but you could foul one off. Give him 10 pitches,
Stop it.
you foul one off.
I would bet everything that he wouldn't sniff it.
Well, there's no way to find
There
out.
isn't. That's the beauty of it. It's the beauty
The old
of it.
saying is 100 is
My
so
point
fast.
to say, my point was that this is kind of where you got yourself into with the whole
Yes.
tie 10.
And I don't even want to go here, but unless COVID hits tomorrow,
Oh, God.
you are on the hook Thursday.
If we want to do it, Tony just knocked on wood.
Yeah.
If we want to do it, and our boss Adam, who said that he would do
Bring
it,
him on in, too.
but he has to do it in the first or second segment because
That's
he's
fine.
got stuff going on.
We could set him a nice little bowl. We could
No,
Get him-
no,
get him
we're
a
going to
nice-
talk about this off the
we'll
air.
get a nice little bite.
Okay.
College basketball tonight. The Aztecs are at Air Force, keeping track of some ranked teams in action right now. Third-ranked North Carolina is home to Clemson tonight. Should be an easy win, but Tar Heels are down 9 at the beginning of the second half, 43-34. Yesterday, fourth-ranked Kansas lost. Now third-ranked North Carolina could go down. I would expect both teams to move up in the rankings regardless next week. What else we got, Skraby?
Well, what was Tony teased that Justin Thomas had something to say to the PGA Tour or about the PGA Tour?
He wasn't. He's not on. Let's just say he's not on the same page as Rory, your guy, McIlroy. He said there are about a handful of guys that would make the PGA life better. Outside, he said he's not in agreement that everybody should just be allowed to come back and it'd be all good. So he's still a little burnt feelings.
This is why golf is so hard to watch right now, because they've created their own, for lack of a better term, civil war. And everybody is on one side. It's mudslinging. It's just, how can we trash the other side? Now, here's what's interesting is that Liv, I don't know if they meant to do this because I can't give them credit for it, but they just had their first tournament of the season last weekend.
Really? Missed it.
Apparently a lot of people did not miss it, but here's what's happening. Liv Golf is holding.
Wait, apparently a lot of people did not miss it.
Yeah, a lot of people watched it.
They had their highest ratings ever,
Yep.
Tony.
Really?
432,000 viewers. It
I
was
think they
still
may have
only
crossed
it was still only a third of what the Pebble Beach drew.
well,
So they're
that's-
still way behind.
I think they're crossing the
Rubicon.
Thank you.
I knew where you were
yeah,
going there, bud.
because of my hand
you guys, a
signal.
little kismet there.
I really do think that Liv finally crossed the Rubicon because they're getting more and more people watching them. But here's where I think Liv is doing something really smart. Super Bowl is always on the same weekend as the Waste Management. And so this year, Waste Management, it's no different. Same weekend. But Liv is having a Las Vegas event same weekend with the Super Bowl.
I'm betting against this. We should pay close attention to these numbers here.
I will.
Because I think being in the same city as the Super Bowl is not a win.
I don't
for
think
you.
that's a great idea.
I
at
think
all.
it's a bad idea.
I think it's a good idea because they
know what you're
they
getting.
only play
at,
3 rounds.
You know what you're getting at in Arizona. Like that's a party. Like people know that.
But the
going in.
Liv wants it to be a party.
Yeah.
And so Justin Thomas, I can understand why he wouldn't want certain guys to come back. Like I can't name anybody because I don't know, but I'll just say Brooks Koepka.
Why Brooks?
I don't know. Well, mainly because Brooks talks a lot of trash. He's kind of like frustrating to be around. I don't want to straight up call him annoying, but there you go. And so I can understand why certain people he doesn't want back on the tour. And I'm sure he would want Brooks back on the tour because he's a good player and it will benefit the tour. But Rory McIlroy, I think, just threw up his arms and was like, I'm done with this. I'm just going to accept it and move on. And some other guys aren't doing that.
Sounds like you're a little partial to your best friend, Rory McIlroy.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, sounds like
Justin Thomas. I've never been a fan of Justin Thomas for whatever reason. I don't know why.
Speaking of Justin Thomas, he and Scotty Scheffler are the odds-on favorites this win to win the Waste Management Open in Phoenix, which is interesting because those guys are big names. Jordan Spieth is the third choice. But the rest of the people in the top 10, Skraby, I mentioned this to you off air earlier. Who in the world is Byung Hung An, Sun J M, JT Poston, Tom Kim, Min Woo Lee? These are all not just PGA golfers. These are guys that are in the top 10 of the balloting in terms of favorites to win this week. I've never heard of a single one of them, and I consider myself to be a reasonable sports fan.
I will say golf in Asia has never been bigger, and they are producing a lot of great players.
Yeah.
And so we're going to see more players from that part of the world.
Women's side.
And men's and women. Women's side has already been – there's a lot of great players on the women's side. I'm going to give
so that'll be the next group that goes over to Liv, probably.
if they want it, I mean, if they want to start a women's Liv, I'm sure they will, and they could.
We should be paying close attention. Liv had their best ratings this past one. Can they sustain it? Right?
Yeah.
This is.
It's hard for them to sustain it in my mind because I don't know where the CW network even is.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think a lot of people stumble upon it.
You think they just all stumbled upon it last week? I was like, oh,
well, more people.
This is Liv.
Maybe either that or, I mean, look, the Pebble Beach was rained out the last. Oh, but no, Liv was over, right? When does Liv play? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
I think it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Well, I don't know. Liv, it's making inroads, and it's not ruining golf, but it's causing a lot of havoc right now.
It's the premise of why they are doing what they're doing that I just hate so much, and it's basically because they want to pay for the biggest golf league in the world, and that's what they're doing. And Greg Norman wants to stick it to the PGA Tour.
That's the interesting part is now PGA has their own backing. They don't even necessarily need.
And that's why I want to give the PGA Tour like another year to figure this out, because they're bringing in American money from Arthur Blank and some other big sports owners, and they're going to allow the players to have equity in the PGA Tour. And Tony's laughing for some reason.
Did you see Braden's tweet?
Oh, gosh.
Doesn't have that dog in it.
Braden doesn't even know what a dog is. Like I said at the beginning of the show, if Braden wants me to show the dog, that's kind of dirty, actually.
It was off the cut that Brock had of you yelling.
All right, fine. Good one, Braden.
That's hilarious.
Joe Hortz. Ortiz. Sorry, Joe Ortiz.
Who is this?
Do we know who this is?
No.
He's the general manager of the Chargers.
Oh, he's second with
he doubled down on his coach, Jim Harbaugh. At his press conference today, Ortiz said, "We are going to build a consistent winner here. We are going to bring you a trophy, Dean. We are going to get it done. I've got 4 boys. I've got 2 rings. We're getting the other 2 at least, and we're going to keep trying to build."
Where did he come from?
Ravens.
Oh, that's right.
Got 2 of them.
I mean, the Ravens have been pretty good for the past 20
There's
years.
no doubt. It's weird that it took this long for teams to start like kind of chipping away at that, but they did this offseason. That's for sure.
I've still yet to hear Spanos comment on the hiring of Harbaugh.
What is he going to say?
Well, how about, you know what? We are,
we're turning a new leaf.
We're turning, yeah, right. We're committed to actually making sure that we get it done, and we left no stone unturned. I don't know. I mean, either that, or he could have said, "Well, I want to thank the NFL for supporting me and giving the money I need to hire Jim Harbaugh," because that's the conspiracy rumor.
You know, we got a
going
chat
around.
saying that that conspiracy has been the conspiracy hasn't been confirmed, but the fact that the conspiracy is out there has been confirmed.
Yes, I told you.
I know.
I didn't just make up a conspiracy.
I know.
All right, we'll take a timeout. When we come back, can't remember what you told me.
I was like, uh-oh.
like, is he
and then
all
he's
right?
looking towards it. I was like, Tony, we have a medical emergency happening.
I swear, when I looked over him, I saw him do this.
His eyes were like in the back of his head.
Same thing.
We are going to every year, well, last 2 years, we've played Jim Trotter asking Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, his question. And this year, Jim Trotter was not in attendance, but someone asked it for him. So we'll get into that when we get back here on 97.3 The Fan. Here's some traffic.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Got a crash on North.
Well, I've been telling you for a couple of weeks now how much I have fallen in love with Spiro's and their great Mediterranean cuisine in Coronado and La Jolla. Trying to pass along this info to you so that you can start enjoying Spiro's Mediterranean just like I do. Family owned and operated for over 25 years, and the recipes passed down from grandmother to Spiro's mother, right on down to the delicious food and flavors of the Mediterranean that we all enjoy right now. In a beautiful atmosphere, unique Greek taverna tradition, all the food fresh and prepared daily. And the locations, Spiro's Dining in Coronado on the ferry landing, absolutely beautiful. Same goes for the La Jolla location at the corner of Prospect and Fay. Sidewalk seating with fire pits and family-friendly prices and great food, including gyros and lamb chops, grilled salmon, Greek salads, all of it. It is Spiro's Mediterranean food. I'm glad I've discovered it. Time for you to discover it as well. If you are into dining takeout options, visit spiroscuisine.com. Spiro's, enjoy.
Let me go ahead and get this out the way because I know we'll get a tweet about it at some point.
Hey, guess what, Tony? You are wrong.
Rick Patino, not at Iona anymore. He moved on to St. John's.
Okay.
So just want to get that out there.
No, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
You didn't know that?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
Did not recall that.
I forgot. I'm not gonna lie.
Rick
I
Patino
knew
has coached every school in America by now.
he didn't start out at Kentucky, did he?
I doubt that was his very.
Yeah.
No, he was Providence.
Providence.
Billy Donovan played for him at Providence. That's where he kind of made this. He got him to the Final Four one year, and that kind of put him on the map.
I swear I didn't do that, Skraby. I did not change my camera to look at the wall.
Okay.
I don't know that. And again, before somebody looks it up, I don't know that was Patino's first job. I just know that the Providence thing put him on the map, and then he went from there.
Very careful right now.
We have to be careful because you people are checking.
I knew that was St. John's, though, just for the record.
Good. Well, then why didn't you say something?
I'm glad you finally know something, Scrape.
Oh.
His son is the coach at New Mexico.
He was also in the running when, remember the whole Brian Dutcher going to Minnesota thing?
Yes.
They fire him and they opened up the job
Richard
for
Patino.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
If you missed any part of our show today, no problem. You can hop back into the moments you missed with chapters on the free Odyssey app. Just download the Odyssey app, search for 97.3 The Fan, tap our show, and find your favorite moments. Now,
real quick, Rick Patino's first head coaching job, Boston University, then Providence.
He was up in the Eastern region.
So
there.
leave your corrections at home.
Roger Goodell, excuse me, was questioned once again, but it wasn't by our old friend. They actually, according to Skraby, right, never had a conversation, right?
Yes, Jim Trotter created the stir with this question about the diversity in the National Football League.
And it wasn't so much about the National Football League, was it? It was about the actual NFL
network.
offices.
And offices, yeah. Saying that there wasn't as many
at the time. There were no
minorities.
People of color.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember exactly what he said just so I don't get the wrong thing out there. But Jim Trotter has been after this for the last 2 years.
He got fired last year.
Yeah, he's not.
So basically got fired for, sticking up for what he believed in, trying to do the right thing. And the NFL said, you work for us. You shouldn't be asking questions like this of us.
You're making us look bad.
Yeah, exactly. And so another reporter from Kansas City, his name's Darren Smith, and he and Jim Trotter apparently did not have any communication beforehand. And so yesterday, Roger Goodell did his State of the NFL press thing, and this was one of the questions asked.
I'm out of Kansas City, so I've had dreams of working for the NFL Network one day. But be that as it may, I know that you don't run the NFL media newsroom, but you do run the NFL, and they answer to you along with the 32 owners. As of this press conference, the NFL media newsroom still employs 0 black managers, 0 black copy editors, 0 full-time black employees on the news desk, and your only full-time black employee, Larry Campbell, passed away over the weekend. Now, Mr. Trotter, Jim Trotter, was not here, for whatever reason. Over the last 2 years, have asked you why that is the case. And for a league that has more than 60% African Americans that play the game, and I know that you're a man of conscience, how does knowing this sit well with you, and after 2 years of being asked this question, why has it not been any change or any hirings in that area?
Well, I disagree completely with you. There hasn't been any change. I'm happy to get your data and share it with our people and make sure that we get an answer for you. I don't have all the data. I will tell you that the first time ever, 51% of our employees across the league, across the network, across all of our media platforms, not including players, are either people of color or women. First time ever. So progress is being made. And there are areas where we still need to work and still need to improve, whether it's offensive assistants or maybe people in our media newsroom. We will continue to do that and make significant progress as we have.
Well, first, let me give some props to Roger Goodell. He was certainly better prepared.
Yes. The
This
first time
time-
Jim Trotter asked him 2 years ago in 2022, he was at a loss.
What did Chris Berman, you say stumbling, bumbling?
Yeah.
That's what he was doing
And
a
in
little bit.
2023, he was only a little bit more prepared.
He had the answers this time.
This time, at least he had an answer.
Even though Jim Trotter is no longer there, he seemed to be ready for this one this
Yeah,
time.
Jim Trotter, good for Jim and that he's having an effect. Darren Smith said he didn't ask Jim Trotter and he just wanted to raise the issue because for whatever reason Jim Trotter wasn't there
right
this year
As he
at
said,
the press
for whatever
conference.
reason.
For whatever reason. But it doesn't change. Even Roger Goodell's answer doesn't change the fact that unless this guy, Darren Smith, the media guy in Kansas City, is wrong with his facts, because he says there's no black managers, no copy editors, no full-time employees, etc. on the news desk. So that still doesn't look all that good.
Yeah. No, it doesn't.
Roger Goodell is a genius at spinning this particular
he's
question.
I don't know if he's a genius. Based on the first time way he answered the first two times, I don't think
I'm
we
talking
could
about this specific time. He's a genius because he took the attention away from the actual question, which is the NFL Network news desk, news managers,
and
things like that.
He said across
the league and excluding players, and so he knows what he's doing. But I got to give this guy Darren Smith a lot of credit because
he might not be let back in next.
Exactly,
Gonna have to pass it on to the next guy.
He is.
They're probably going to still be having to ask this question for years and years. I mean, the NFL can say, and Goodell can make the claim.
Yeah.
But and yes, you've gone from I don't have the number. Let's say you've gone from 2, black coaches to 3. That's still not the same percentage of the players you have playing in the league. I mean, the NFL has been so slow and so blind to this for so many years that if it weren't for people like Jim Trotter and this reporter today and others before them, you wonder if the NFL would have ever addressed it at all.
Yeah, change never comes in like big droves, right? It's small.
Trickles in.
And if you don't have people who are pressing the line all the time, that little bit of change doesn't actually ever happen. So kudos to, what was my man's name?
Darren Smith.
Darren Smith in Kansas City. Good
not
job.
related.
All right, let's get to break. When we come back, our interview of the day. Brent Sableski blessed us with some good stuff today earlier. More Gwynn and Chris on the way.
All right, Clemson still trying to pull off that upset in Chapel Hill tonight. Clemson 63, North Carolina 54. About 9 minutes to play. 4th-ranked team in the nation. Under the gun. Hopefully that will not be the case later tonight when the Aztecs rank 24th. Play at Air Force.
What is the really good broadcaster's name that works on Fox? He does the football games.
Greg Olson?
No, not NFL. He does college. He's
Gus Johnson?
Gus Johnson.
You like Gus Johnson?
He's okay.
He's a bit of a parody of himself now.
Did you hear him doing the Iowa Maryland women's basketball game?
I did not.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, Caitlin Clark blocked a shot, and he was trying to say she got her shot blocked, but he said the other one.
Oh no!
And then he said her shot block. Excuse me, is what he said. She got her bleep block, and then said shot block. Excuse me.
Oh my goodness, he did say it.
He did.
Gus.
I guess it was one of the most watched women's college basketball games too.
Yeah.
I'm loving all of that though. The fact that the women's game is just kicking butt right now.
Yeah, man.
It's really great. And I mean, this is going to be a big season for the WNBA. I know they're trying to take advantage of all of this, but Caitlin Clark and this Juju Watkins of USC.
Ooh, that girl right
tremendous.
there.
That's great. And
Wow.
college women's.
Did you listen to
No,
that?
I went to Awful Announcing because they always have those things. And the media, it says, has been disabled in response to a report by the copyright owner. So they're trying to erase this from the internet.
They don't want it on there.
They do not want it on there.
So Gus Johnson actually did say.
Oh, he did.
I said that once also. Just once.
I mean,
I can see it.
And I told you how I did it. Didn't I tell you?
I'm not sure.
I said your dad was, instead of 2 hits shy of 3,000, I transposed them. It was during a sports update many years ago.
Oh, wow. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Just came out wrong.
Yeah.
By the way, I sent you, or I retweeted something that somebody put on Twitter today, and I was hoping you would catch it, Tony. It was a highlight package of your dad playing point guard at San Diego State.
I did not see that.
Yeah, look through. Did you see it? I didn't send it to you. I just retweeted it. So, sorry, I don't know how to.
Just go to Chris's page.
I'm going to have to go to his page.
Go to my page. You can find. But I think it was pretty. There was clips I'd never seen before.
Was your dad number 24 when he played for the Aztecs?
He was.
Okay, so that's why Aztecs put up that post the other day saying 24, just like Tony Gwynn.
Ranked 24. Yeah, it's a pretty cool little package. A package of about 6 or 7 plays. Him scoring some buckets, making some passes. I'd never seen any of those clips before, so I retweeted it for Tony Gwynn fans everywhere.
One of the facts that people always want me to tell Tony, it doesn't matter who I meet or where I go, but does anybody ever know that Tony Gwynn was actually drafted by the Clippers too? I'm like, yeah, it's pretty commonly known.
We've explored it a lot.
What's not known is that somebody called from the office, and the baseball office guy by the name of Steve Salvo, who was kind of one of the fun assistant. He was kind of a recruiting guy. But anyway, he called Tony's house and made like he was from the soccer team and said, "We've drafted you as well." Trying to
be funny.
Trying to make it a 3-team parlay.
That's hilarious.
All right, let's get to some traffic. Today's interview was, this guy's so good. Brent Sobleski of Bleacher Report. If you've heard him before, you're about to be much more knowledgeable about the Super Bowl and the NFL.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by California Coast Credit Union. Considering we've got some very wet roadways, scattered showers, folks are doing a pretty good job of navigating. This one crash northbound 15 past Rancho Bernardo Road has been cleared over the right shoulder. We're still seeing quite a bit of congestion. Also, just keep in mind, wherever you're heading, give yourself plenty of extra time if you are still out there. Yeah, a lot of closures due to flooding, so be prepared for those traffic diversions. Get a 4.78% APR auto loan at California Coast Credit Union with no payments for 90 days. Offer valid with CalCoast car buying service discount. Interest accrues immediately. Restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA. Visit calcoastcu.org. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Now let's get to our NFL guest. Brent Sobleski joins us. Bleacher Report. Brent, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing well. Had a nice sunny week in Alabama last week for the Senior Bowl. Now here comes the Super Bowl. Gentlemen, This is the best time of the year.
Yeah, we know you are very fond of this time of year, and kudos to you for getting some sunshine in Alabama, because we're getting none of it right now here in California. But let's talk a little bit about this Super Bowl. We are finally getting closer and closer. We're less than a week away. Let's start with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he's 6 straight AFC championship games. He's going to another Super Bowl. He's already won 2 of these. I mean, at this point, has there been anybody in their first, 7, 8 years of his career had a better 7 or 8 than he has to start his career?
That's a great way to frame it, because I think when you look at the argument, and I've seen it online, and I think it's a great way to look at it overall. When you are discussing greatest of all time, you're looking for, at one, length of career, right? When we're talking about that, it's obviously Tom Brady. Are you looking at peak? Who is the best at their very best? And at this juncture, it's difficult to argue anyone against Patrick Mahomes and what he has done. And I think it's really interesting because those 2 careers overlap, right? And so you get this delineation point where Tom Brady was the end of what we would essentially look at as the old guard. And then you have Mahomes, who has revolutionized the way we look at the position today. And I think that's an important part of the conversation, because with Patrick Mahomes, it's not just about winning, and it's not just about doing it the right way and putting up huge numbers. He legitimately has morphed what we've looked at the quarterback position and changed it completely. How much importance we place on the emphasis with disassociation from upper body, lower body, being able to throw from multiple arm angles, how to work outside of structure, how to work from through your second and third windows and create plays. And that's what is now the standard. So that, to me, is really the indication of what we see with Mahomes at his peak is probably the best ever, with the opportunity to become the actual greatest of all time.
Brent, when I look at this game and I look at Mahomes, I mean, I try to figure out a way to beat him. I mean, if you're going to pick the 49ers to win, then you got to figure out a way that they can beat Patrick Mahomes. And I'm going through, his playoff log, and I mean, it's unbelievable. He's 14-3. 2 of the losses were to Tom Brady. 1 was to Joe Burrow and the Bengals. But when the Chiefs don't drop the football, at least looking back on this season, it seems like they're almost impossible to stop unless you can get a pass rush on him. And when I go back to the Tampa Bay Super Bowl that they got blitzed by the Bucs, Tampa Bay terrorized him. They tore up Kansas City's offensive line, and he couldn't do anything, and no quarterback can under those circumstances. It's the same way Brady used to lose once in a blue moon. When the Giants could get to him with a 4-man rush, they were able to beat him in 2 Super Bowls. So the question is, can the 49ers do something like that to Mahomes?
I do believe so. And, before coming on the show, I still wasn't sure who I wanted to pick for this game. Bleacher Report, we have yet to sit down and put and enter our selections for this game, who we're picking as, through multiple different analysts that work for the company. And I was kind of just agonizing over it to a degree, because I agree with you. And I even wrote it last week when they were facing the Baltimore Ravens. It's like, how do you bet against Patrick Mahomes, right? How do you do that? Then you have to start thinking logically on where those potential holes may be. You mentioned one, and rightly so. Again, you get that correlation between Brady and the Buccaneers and the way they attacked the Kansas City Chiefs. And what we saw at that time was the Chiefs didn't have enough talent in the trenches to protect Patrick Mahomes. And if you guys remember going into that offseason, they completely revamped their offensive line. Like 4/5 of their starting offensive line changed that offseason with multiple investments, not only in free agency, but also through the draft. And that's where they got guys like Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith, who've been absolutely spectacular. With that said, I think one of the major keys in this contest is the fact that Joe Thuney's almost certainly out, and he is their best offensive lineman. And so because of that pectoral injury, now the San Francisco 49ers, you're going to attack that interior. You may not attack necessarily Creed Humphrey or Trey Smith, but you got to have guys like Eric Armstead and Javon Hargrave who can create pressure to collapse the pocket. And the weakness for Kansas City's protection tends to be the offensive tackles. So if you can collapse the pocket, now you have Bosa, right? You have Chase Young screaming off the edges that can make life difficult for Patrick Mahomes. And that, to me, is really one of the 2 major matchups I think that will define this game. the other being San Francisco's run game.
Brett Sableski joins us here. Bleacher Report here on Gwynn and Chris, 2:45 on the clock. And Brent, one of the things that I want to move away from the Super Bowl for a sec, because I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like there's been a lot more conversation about coordinators this offseason than I can remember, like headlining some of these situations. I want to start with the Commanders' new offensive coordinator, Cliff Kingsbury. They move who had agreed, seemed like he agreed to be the Raiders' offensive coordinator. That didn't end up working out. What's been your take on a lot of the movement with the coordinators this offseason?
Well, I think a lot of it is regurgitation of what we've already seen, right? In a lot of instances, these are coordinators that were coordinators elsewhere that either through a failed head coach or failed system no longer had a job and just moved to another one. So it's a bit of rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic when it comes to some of these positions. And you have someone like Cliff Kingsbury, who obviously was a head coach with the Arizona Cardinals, but he was also the play caller and ultimately failed in both duties and was found wanting, and Arizona moved on. See, the thing that's interesting to me with Cliff Kingsbury, and it was interesting not just with Washington, but also when we originally had the reports of him going to Las Vegas, his plight seems very simple to me. He is trying to position himself in the best way possible to become an NFL head coach again, right? That is the way that we feel that he's going to really set himself up. That's why you would go to the Oakland Raiders, where you had control of the offense without Antonio Pierce really interfering. And it seems applicable now that he's in Washington. Here's the big difference. Washington owns a second overall draft pick, and that gives you a franchise, well, a quote unquote franchise quarterback in this year's NFL draft, whereas the Raiders are outside of the top 10. So that's a major difference. And if you have aspirations of being there 1 or 2 years and moving on and hopefully obtaining another head coaching position, which clearly seems the plight here, then you want to work with the most talented quarterback you possibly can. And that's why those negotiations, quote unquote, fell apart at the last minute.
It probably,
but overall,
it probably helps to have a guy that he just finished working pretty close with in Caleb Williams around that area somewhere.
Yeah, it's fascinating because, guys, I work with the Bleacher Report scouting department. We study the draft year round. We have multiple guys on staff that breaks down talent. We don't even have Caleb as QB1. And we don't have either quarterback as the number 1 overall prospect. So while, yes, we have them rated as top 5 talents, we're treating him in a manner that's odd to me in certain ways. Like Kingsbury has to get Caleb Williams. He's this quote unquote top end talent. I don't see it in the same way. I think he would be just as preferable to land someone like Drake May or even Jaden Daniels, and they would be well off, very talented kids. And I understand that there's the history there between those two, and the fit would be fantastic. So I can't argue that. But I don't think that's the only end game for Washington here, that they have the opportunity just to stand pat and see which one's available to them. Or if they prefer one, why don't you flip with Chicago and give Chicago a little something on the side so that they can get their quarterback still and add an asset.
Brent Sableski from Bleacher Report. The one thing I was so impressed with you, Brent, and I'm always am, but you previewed the championship games, and the one thing you told Tony and I was that the Detroit Lions had the best offensive line of any of the teams left in the postseason, and they went out and proved it against the 49ers. And I know it didn't win them the game, but they really controlled the line of scrimmage. Now I want to know, can the 49ers offensive line give them the running game they're going to need to keep Mahomes off the field, keep, Brock Purdy upright back there, and let him do what he does? I mean, this notion that this guy's a game manager, I guess there's some people still hanging on to that theory, but he seems to be proving, week in, week out, if you give the guy some time, he's got the weapons. 49ers are going to score some points even against a really good KC defense.
Well, let me squash something real quick. Every quarterback's a game manager if the play caller is doing his job correctly, right?
Yeah,
because you're operating you're operating within the offensive scheme as designed for you. So that's the whole point of playing the position. I think it's totally overblown when we look at Brock Purdy. Now, what I think is a bigger question is the experience comparatively when you're going against a Patrick Mahomes and being at this stage, and he's only in his second year and not we mentioned before, that they missed most of the offseason with that elbow injury. So I think that's a legitimate question, not necessarily whether he has the talent or if he's just a game manager. To me, that's all overblown. Now, I did allude to this earlier, that the second part of why I think San Francisco has a legitimate chances in this contest is their run game. And I'm not going to take credit for this stat. I believe it was Mina Kimes that threw it out there today. So I fully kudos to her and the research department over on the ESPN side of things. But when you look at the one statistic that blew my mind is obviously the San Francisco 49ers are the number one zone rushing team in the NFL. That goes without saying. It's the Shanahan offense. It's been that way since the mid-90s, since Mike Shanahan developed the system. Now, with that said, here's the important part. Kansas City's 31st in the NFL defending zone runs, okay? So when you have that offensive line as it's currently constructed, plus you will start adding ancillary pieces like George Kittle blocking on the edges, if San Francisco finds themselves in a position where they can get up early, if that means taking the ball by winning the coin flip and establishing that run to get points so you're not chasing Patrick Mahomes, that's when you are at a specific advantage over the Chiefs, even though the Chiefs have the number 2 rated defense overall, because they are weak in that specific area against zone rushing attack, against when they're playing base defense, against when you have 12 personnel out there with multiple tight ends. And so that's where San Francisco's strengths are. And you start factoring Christian McCaffrey and just how naturally gifted he is. So to me, and I feel like I'm talking myself into the 49ers as we're having this conversation.
You brought him up, Brent, about Christian McCaffrey, and for this may seem crazy, but bear with me here. He seems to be less talked about now that he's in San Francisco than he was in Carolina. And I don't know if that's because every week we're talking about Brock Purdy and if he's a game manager or not, or what the sense is, but Christian McCaffrey is the most important player, I think, on the San Francisco 49ers. And I would assume it's going to have a big day in order for the 49ers to win this game.
I agree 100%. Excuse me, apologize. The stat that kind of just blows my mind this year is, I know obviously running backs as a whole have been devalued, and I understand the game is now a pass first NFL. That's the way we look at it. It's the way it's played. That's what we want. We want scores, high flying offenses. But still, the fact that Christian McCaffrey was the only running back in the NFL, to run for more than 1,200 yards this year is flabbergasting. I mean, guys, I know you're a little older like me. You remember all the 2,000-yard backs and Barry and Terrell Davis and all those guys, but not on even going back further with when those workhorses like Eric Dickerson and Marcus Allen. And now we have only one in the NFL. And what makes McCaffrey truly special is not only is he the best pure runner in the NFL, but he's also one of the best. He's arguably the best receiver out of the backfield. Yeah. So you can use him in such a manner to vary the offense in a way to where he is totally dynamic, but also complementary to everything they have on offense, whether we're talking about George Kittle as a primary weapon, as a receiver, and not just as a blocker at the end of the line of scrimmage. You have Brandon Ayuk, who him and Deebo Samuel, who are so dynamic with the ball in their hands that you can use them in a multitude of different ways, not just as receivers, but on motion, jet sweeps and things of the like and screens. So to me, Kyle Shanahan being able to have that ball early and getting up early will be the absolute critical key to what San Francisco does through the entire contest. And it will rely on Christian McCaffrey being the focal point.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, Brent, we're looking forward to it. Can't wait for Super Bowl Sunday.
Brent, that was a nice try. You almost got me leaning to the 49ers, but
hey, we all know when you're betting out there, logic never actually applies. So just do the opposite of what I say.
I don't know about that, man. You're pretty smart. So
you
we'll
definitely
see.
got us leaning a little bit. We appreciate your time, though, Brent. Thank you, man.
Thanks, Brent. Enjoy the game.
I hope everyone else out there listening enjoys as well. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Clemson 72, North Carolina 73 minutes left. Aztecs Air Force later. We'll be back tomorrow to talk about it. Thanks to Brett Zableski for joining us. Skraby coming up with the Chronicles next. Stick around for that. For Tony, Chris, have a good Tuesday night. Stay dry as best you can. Be safe.
Super Bowl 58 is set. Patrick Mahomes and the defending champion Chiefs will square off against Brock Purdy and the 49ers. Our coverage begins Super Bowl Sunday at